Прийшли окупанти до нас в Україну, форма новенька, воєнні машини, та трохи поплавився їх інвентар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російські танкісти сховались в кущі, щоб лаптем посьорбати довбані щі, та трохи у чах перегрівся навар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Приперли зі сходу до нас барани для восстановлення
великої страни.
Найкращий пастух баранячих отар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Їх доводи всяке озброєння різне, потужні ракети, машини залізні, у нас на всі доводи є коментар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Вони захопити хотіли нас зразу, а ми зачаїли на орків образу з російських бандитів, робить примар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російська поліція справи заводить, там вбивцю рашистів ніяк не знаходить, хто винен, що в нашому полі глухар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Веде пропаганду кремлівський урод, слова пропаганди ковтає народ, тепер нове слово знає цар.
Байрактар.
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 Yes.
The Leaf Spring Army sends its regards.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Enforcer, and I'm accompanied by Enforcer Matt.
And good evening, folks. It's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back to day 933 of the news. And it's good to see you all once again. And we're seeing today that Ukraine's opened a brand new invasion of Kursk, Russia, and the Russians are panicking. It's good to see you all once again.
And of course, we're going to be covering the past 24 hours of the news of the war in Ukraine, as we have gotten major news that not only was yesterday's border breach a somewhat larger one, which we were able to document on this channel because it happened literally 5 minutes before the stream went live, we have now been able to hear that Ukrainian forces have been rapidly advancing towards the town of Hezbollah, and it appears that the Russians are facing a serious defeat in their rear flank near to the area of Komarovka, as the Ukrainians are now advancing towards Glishkova on a new offensive axis that was completely unpredicted by the Russians up until this point. A major development in the Kursk battle so far, and we've also been able to get larger news of Ukrainian activities happening around the entirety of the Kursk Oblast, as this appears to be once again a reinvigorated offensive effort by the Ukrainian forces in most directions near to the area of the Reka Sim, and the Ukrainians are now breaking out and reaching forwards, trying to take more ground from the Russian Federation here over just the past few hours. Not only that, we were also able to get some additional news outside of the area of Pokrovsk, where we were able to hear that Russian forces are still taking incredibly high losses at the hands of Ukrainian defense forces, and the Russians appear to have not made any offensive gains over the past 24 hours, and instead have taken incredibly high losses with absolutely no gains whatsoever. At the exact same time, there's been a lot of Ukrainian combat news going on in the area of Bakhmut, the Severonsky Forest, and also near to the area of Kupiansk, and we've also gotten some intermittent news out of the area of the Kenburn Spit, as the Ukrainians are continuing to conduct an artillery barrage on this area on the Russian forces that are trying to hold down this vital entryway into the Dniprovsk Gulf. We have also been able to hear of a Ukrainian deep strike near to the area of Melitopol, which ended up hitting some sort of a Russian supply cache and causing a very significant fire just a few hours ago. And we also have loads of news in multiple different directions tonight, an absolute lot of it, because not only do we have news from Ukraine tonight, we have now gotten an official confirmation that the state of Israel is planning and has officially announced that they will most likely be going into a full-out war with Hezbollah within southern Lebanon here within the very near future. And not only that, inside the United States of America, we have now started to hear a statement clarifying the odd statements made yesterday, saying that America may give the Ukrainians the permission to use American weapons in deep strikes against the Russian Federation. Those statements making a lot more sense than the statements we heard before. But most importantly tonight, probably the most important for everyone that's here, this is actually our final stream before we log off from the September 14th to 18th time window that we've been talking about for weeks at this point. It is that night. This is
I guess you could say this stream is one for the road, I guess you could say.
Man, it really is one for the road, I suppose. And that's what we're going to be calling tonight's stream. Stream for the road, because this will be our last live stream right now until the 19th of September or the 20th of September. We're not really sure which date we will be able to return on. It most likely will be the 19th, but if not, expect the 20th. But this is the final stream for this night. So make sure to lock, stock, and load, because this will be the last Enforcer stream many people have for about the next 5 days or so. So just want to make sure to put that out there and let everyone know that, just in case if you have not heard that up until this point. But we have an insanely high amount of news to work off of here in our final hours before we start going on our own vacation and our own little trip out there into the world, the first one that we've ever had in about 4 years. But moving on from that and on into the major news that we were able to get out of the Kursk Oblast today, we were able to see that Ukrainian forces have started to rapidly advance across the border from the area around Novi Put and have advanced up into the area of Obukova as of today. We were able to get video and picture evidence confirming that Ukrainian forces are rapidly moving in this area, and the video evidence was immediately deleted. So now I have to try and scramble to find this for y'all really quickly. Usually I would have had a backup on something like this, but I had a feeling that that was not going to be deleted or removed, and then it was deleted and removed. So let me go see if I can quickly find something that will be able to show this off to us. Hopefully Matthew's also in the desperate scramble as well to be able to try and find this, because there is a decent amount of video and picture evidence out there.
So I do. So also, by the way, there's a massive delay in our Discord. I don't know why. It's just the usual internet problems at this point. But there is a repost on our Twitter page about 3 or 4 posts down, which does have the evidence of the breach.
And here we go. Thank you so much, Matthew, for sharing that, by the way. But we do have it right here on our Twitter page. If you want to be able to find this yourself and check it out, go down to the link in the description below to our Twitter, and you will be able to find the video clip. But this actually has a couple of different video clips as well, showing us the exact area that the Ukrainians were moving in on top of that. This is several hours old by this point, so operational security doesn't need to be ensured 100% with these clips, as these Ukrainian forces have long since moved on from this area that was being filmed. But here is the video with some nice copyrighted music to kick us off. But we can see here the Ukrainians making their way in a larger column towards the town of Veselo. We can see that they're making it through the breach that was made by the engineering vehicles yesterday, which we were able to document on camera about 5 minutes before the stream started. And we can see that the Ukrainians are absolutely barreling forward through the fields, facing no opposition at this point, and quickly making their way towards Veselo. We can now see them hitting the tree line over here and now making a left turn to follow the length of the tree line and towards their first village that will be one of their main targets at the moment. We can also see what appears to have been maybe a damaged Ukrainian vehicle on the side of the road, although the footage is pretty dicey kind of in its quality. And we see here
this footage is Dodgy Dave.
Dodgy Dave! You will recuse that statement. No, I will not. Kick him out. But beyond that, we can see them finally making it to a paved road. And making their way on downtown, walking fast. We can see here the Ukrainian column continuing to advance down the road. We can actually see something either fire or take a hit right there. I believe the tank actually fired at something near to the roadway. And we see them continuing to rapidly advance onwards down the paved road. Actually, onwards is a bit of an indescript statement. They're actually moving north, and I'll be showing y'all where this was in a little bit and giving y'all a little bit more of an analysis and details here that we were able to get out of this at the moment. But we can see the Ukrainians now apparently dismounting some troops in that tree line and then moving on further forward. But you see, Ukrainian vehicles are literally everywhere, not only on the road, but combing the areas around the road as well to make sure that there's no possible hidden Russian resistance in the nearby tree lines. Now we see here the Ukrainian tank leading the way as it continues to move further north. The Ukrainian MRAP has moved up to the tree line here. We can now see that infantry appear to be dismounting as the tank fires at targets further up the road towards its northern side.
Seems like the Corn group is like on all of these videos that are coming out. It seems like they're like the only like the main group out here doing the all striking. It's kind of crazy. So by the way,
go ahead.
Oh, I was finished. Did it lag or something?
Yeah, it lagged and it sounded like you were starting up a whole new sentence. But beyond that, you would think that, but the Corn group is just the one running the drones. There are a large amount of brigades that are involved. It's just that the Corn group is usually the one operating most of the drones in the area, so they're usually filming most of the stuff. But with that, that's
interesting. Well, they're very effective. It's like the freaks off the leash at this point because they're very effective.
Man, I'm telling you what, man, they really are effective. But we can see right here them moving up the road further north. We can also see where that was geolocated, which is just a little bit south of the town of Veselo. This is giving us a very interesting glimpse into a new kind of a strategy or a tactic that's being employed by the Ukrainians, which is called getting them from behind. Now, this is a very interesting kind of strategy because the Ukrainian forces that are built up around the area of Komarovka and down in the area of Snegost are the ones that have primarily been fighting against the Russian brigade that has been captured, well, really not captured, but caught on the southern side of the Reka Sem for about several weeks at this point. It appears that that brigade has been able to put up a serious enough resistance. We're not really sure how well it's been going, but they have been able to hold the Ukrainians at Komarovka and stop them from advancing towards Glishkovo, which would largely cut off this Russian brigade from any chance of a retreat back across the river. They truly would be trapped and captured here on the southern side of the Reka Sem eventually. The Ukrainians seem to have understood this and seen that probably this brigade has put a lot of their fighting power into the direction of Komarovka to try and hold off the Ukrainians in this area and hope that the Ukrainians do not try and conduct an offensive in another direction or simply do not have the combat power or troops to be able to do such a thing. It seems that that gamble did not pay off, as the Ukrainians are now advancing through the area from Veselo completely unopposed and are now going to be making their way towards Glishkovo from an entirely different direction. From where we believe the Ukrainian forces are right now to Glishkovo, it's only a 4-mile distance, and from the area Ukraine is at Komarovka, it's about a 5-mile distance, meaning that they now have Komarovka within their crosshairs in 2 entirely different axes of advance, which is a very big thing for the Ukrainians, because this means that the Russians will probably not be able to focus enough combat power onto either flank, and that means that this defensive effort south of the Rekasim will most likely collapse, with most of the brigade being lost or surrendering to the Ukrainian forces in the future. Maybe some sort of a half attempt at a retreat could be made where some of the combat power of this brigade was preserved, maybe in just battalion form, to fight another day, but we are highly doubting that at this point. The little bit of Russian resistance that we saw around the area of Veselo actually ended up leading to a T-90M, rarely enough, one of the few T-90Ms we would believe on this southern side of the Rekasim, already getting hit by the 95th somewhere in the area and getting completely destroyed with an ammo cook-off, burning the tank on up. And that thing do be cooking right there. I'm telling you, you don't get to see a lot of tanks cooking like that, but that thing really do be cooking up like Kingsford charcoal briquette. Not that we're sponsored by them or anything, but they do cook up quite nicely. We also got to see more Russian forces getting hit by the Ukrainian Air Force around the area of Komarovka, just outside of the town and to the west, where their current defensive lines are. This is also giving us a better idea that the Ukrainians were coordinating this offensive effort across the border today at Veselo with the rest of the Ukrainian armed forces in that area, as the Ukrainian Air Force started to support the main forces at Komarovka with airstrikes to try and soften up the Russian defensive positions in this area and truly overwhelm the Russian defenders on the southern side of the river. And moving on from that clip, we also got to see that the Ukrainians, although we already documented this on the channel a while ago, and from what we understand, the Ukrainians' current front line may even be at Opanasovka, but apparently we did get a video showing that a Ukrainian flag was raised. Well, actually, it says the Russians are raising their flag over Snegoskt, but at the moment, we understand that the Ukrainians are actually controlling this town instead. So that would be a little bit weird if they were raising a flag, considering that the Ukrainians are all the way at Opanasovka, but we haven't been able to get video or picture evidence to actually confirm or corroborate that. We also have not been able to hear of the Russians conducting a successful counteroffensive in this area, because the Russians began the counteroffensive and failed the counteroffensive within 24 hours, considering that they do not have the supply or logistical ability to be able to support a fighting force on the southern side of the river. So while we do have that video footage, we don't really know if that is Snegoskt, and we don't really know what day that is from, because all of the information that we have goes to prove otherwise, that the Russians could not be recapturing Snegoskt, because the front line, from what we know, is probably at Opanasovka. But moving on from that, and into our next bit of news within the Kursk Oblast, we were also able to see that there was some decent amounts of destroyed Ukrainian equipment near to the area of Koronivo. Usually in most fronts, we do not show destroyed equipment of the Ukrainian armed forces, specifically for morale reasons. But in the Kursk offensive, we usually do, just so that way we can try and account for how well this offensive really is going. And a better way to be able to get a good indicator is by publicly showing some possible losses that have been taken in this front. Now we can see right here, a BRDM-2 armored scout car was lost. It appears to have careened off of the road and into a puddle. And we were also able to see that the area around it appears to have been hit quite heavily with some other civilian vehicles or military vehicles that were requisitioned from the civilian population being damaged and destroyed in this area. It's not an incredibly high loss. BRDM-2s are pretty expendable and very cheap for that matter. Not only that, the crew of a BRDM-2 is usually 3 crew members, which includes a commander, a driver, and a gunner. So it's not an incredibly big loss by by any stretch of the imagination. It's probably one of the more minor losses that Ukrainians could take vehicularly, as a BRDM2 really ranks almost dead last in terms of priority or importance for their loss to the Ukrainian war effort. But moving on from that and on to our next clip, we also did get to see the Ukrainian Javelin hitting a Russian tank in the area just to the east of Koronivo. And we were able to see that right there. Boom! And the turret went flying.
Hey, Alabama with those javelins. I love to see it.
Man,
we see a troll.
Man, we love to see it. And I gotta tell you, man, that audio lag is horrendous because it sounds like you stop talking and then I start talking, then you just keep talking because it's a 15-second delay. Isn't it great? Put an LSA in the chat if you like the audio lag. It's absolutely incredible, but very nice to see that Russian tank ended up having a little bit of a turret toss right there, because the Javelin always produces one. It always detonates the ammo critically under the turret, considering that the entire explosive force is directed right onto the ammo carousel, so it is nice to see that the Javelins are in use, although in somewhat more limited numbers at this point in the war, and that the Ukrainians are still doing an absolutely incredible job at using them. But moving on into the area of Nechayev, near to the area of Bolshoi Soldatskoy, we also got to see the 103rd Territorial Defense Brigade destroying some Russian equipment within this direction. Copyright music ensues, so we're going to have to be muting that, unfortunately, but we can now see the Ukrainians showing an abandoned BTR-82 with some sort of a electronic warfare system built on top of it that isn't working all that well. We know that it's not working well because this Ukrainian drone is flying around the BTR-82. If it was working, the Ukrainian drone wouldn't be able to fly around the BTR-82 at all.
Oh, look at that.
Dang, man, that was pretty impressive. And we now see them hitting another Russian BTR. We now see them targeting and trying to destroy a Russian tank, Blid. And we see the drone carefully going right into the side of an ERA tile, so that may not have been the best hit that we've ever seen.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh! Oh, no.
Oh, and another hit dead on. And we can see another Ural getting slammed. We can see the Ural now on fire, burning quite brilliantly within the trees.
It's never good when you have a public Ural on fire. That seems like a very toxic thing, almost like a biohazard.
It really does, kind of. And also, Matthew, start talking right when I stop talking, which is going to be in just a few words, which will be exactly right now.
Are you trying to go use the public Ural? It's available for purchase now in the Russian Federation.
Dang, that is a huge delay. That's like a 5 or 6 second delay right there still.
Damn, I'll probably just shut up until the polls come around or something, because otherwise I'm going to interrupt the hell out of you all night.
Yeah, oh, sadly, yeah. I mean, like, I hate that crap, man, because it completely, like, stops us from doing our thing, because you'll try and add in, and at that point, I'm already, like, 7 seconds ahead, so I'm like, and moving on, oh, look at that, and then, like, the video clips even ended and everything, too. It sucks, man. I will tell y'all this, if I became president of the United States, I will abolish Spectrum. I will tell y'all that outright. I'm going, like, that's it for them. They've had their chance. They haven't done well. And we can see here the FPV drone just hovering above the road. Did the Russians really just drive into the drone? It didn't even get them. They just drove right into it. But it still worked, so I guess that's all that counts. And they got a buhanka. Well, that's the sound that the buhanka makes. And we can see that apparently the Ukrainians got a warning for critical jamming. Because the Russians are busting down that beat down there. That's some jamming right there. And we can see the drone coming down into an MTLB and obliterating the thing. And we can see one of the trees, actually a vehicle under the trees is on fire. We can't tell what kind it is. It looked like it was tracked, but oh, there's another little sneaky in the trees, an MTLB, and it's gone as well. Look at that. Impressive stuff, really. And we can see here another Russian vehicle getting slammed, and then the clip ends. But still, a very impressive montage of destruction of the Russian armed forces along this area within the Kursk Oblast. We are starting to get an idea that the Ukrainian offensive in the Kursk Oblast is once again trying to secure its western flank and use the Rekha as a defensive barrier. And it appears that over the next few days, the Ukrainians may be able to successfully accomplish this if the Russians are not able to amass their combat power effectively in this area or secure some sort of a decent or very well-off supply line within this direction. We are assuming that the Ukrainians will most likely be able to make progress. We're not assuming that they're going to be able to take over this entire flank within the next few days. Probably by the time we come back, we'll have seen that good progress has been made, but they won't be in entire control of the western flank south of the Rekha up till that point. But things are looking very good in this area, and it does seem as though the situation is largely positive. And we have seen that a lot of people have been weighing in on this now positive appearance, once again, of the Kursk front, as Ukraine has opened a new front on the Russian border in Kursk. And a lot of people are wondering, is Ukraine doubling down on that invasion? It seems like a lot of people are saying, yes, in fact they are. Some are saying that no, they're not really doing so. And some people are saying, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. We just don't know. And who are you to say? And a lot of people have had many different inputs on this. But Matthew, what are people thinking about this? And most importantly, what are you thinking about it as well?
All right, so we have seen today that Ukrainian forces have opened a brand new front on the Russian border near Kursk. The big question is Ukraine doubling down on their original invasion? So 74% of the audience said yes, they are doubling down, while 11% said maybe so, but I need more intel first, and 9% said no, Ukraine is forced to stop the Russian offensive. Now, the first thing that pops into my head is if Ukraine was totally focused on stopping the Russian offensive, they would simply send more troops to their current front lines in Kursk, and they would simply reinforce those. So I think what they're trying to do here is try to redirect some of those Russian forces, which just started a brand new counteroffensive against the Ukrainians in the Kursk region. They're hoping to redirect some of those forces over to this new front, which has just been opened by the Ukrainians. That could be a very, very high IQ move, but it is a little bit risky. So we'll have to wait and see if the Russians actually redirect that new spot, but if not, then that could mean that maybe the Ukrainians might expand and also basically spread themselves too thin across the Kursk offensive. So we'll have to wait and see, but I'm actually with a 74%. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would have to be with a 74% as well. The Ukrainians are certainly doubling down. There's no doubt about that, because the opening of a new offensive on the western flank near Glishkovo is certainly showing that they are trying to solidify their defensive positions within this direction and deny the Russians an ability to consolidate forces in the future and try and conduct a counterattack on Ukraine's western flank within this offensive. I would certainly say, without a shadow of a doubt, that this is showing that the Ukrainians are going to be doubling down on this offensive and planning on holding this ground for an incredibly long time up until the near future, maybe even until the war ends. We'll kind of have to see how that goes, but this is still a very interesting kind of a thing to see. I actually did not expect that the Ukrainians were going to try and open a new offensive pushing across the border, because it had gone for weeks now and we hadn't really seen that yet. But it seems as though that was always in the back pocket, so that way when the Russians started to fully commit their brigade on the southern side of the river around Komarovka, the Ukrainians could just sweep in right behind them and capture a large amount of ground on one of their exposed flanks. So a very solid move overall, and once again showing that the Ukrainian strategists that are operating this offensive are doing incredibly well as far as their planning is concerned. But moving on from that, and out of this area, and on quickly into the Middle East, we did get an individual sole statement today that apparently the decision to wage war against Hezbollah has been made, according to a U.S. official. Israel has made the decision to start a wide-scale war against Hezbollah. That is all we have at the moment. This is from Mossad commentary on Twitter, and a lot of people would say, that doesn't really seem like that's that viable of a source. In the past, we have seen that their information has been incredibly solid so far, and we've used that a lot in our news reporting and analysis here on this channel of the conflict, and so it seems as though some sort of a conflict is going to be coming around the corner in southern Lebanon by the Israelis, and it's about time. We have seen that Hezbollah has continued to fire rockets into the area of northern Israel. We did get to see that some of those interceptions were occurring even today, as the war is still kind of unofficially going on in between the two, and it seems now that the Israelis are going to be conducting some actual serious action to destroy this threat within southern Lebanon and to ensure that it doesn't continue to threaten Israeli interests and largely as a whole, Western interests, including the United States in the region. This means that we'll probably see a very heavy air campaign coming in the future of Israeli airstrikes throughout the entirety of southern Lebanon, up to the area of the oh my lord, am I forgetting the name of the river? Hang on, it's this little river, the Litani River, right there. It's more so a creek. And we also assume that the Israelis are also going to be striking some other major targets within the area as well, either operating as Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps strongholds, or they're operating largely as a harbor for operators and commanders of Hezbollah and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Those towns will include Beirut, Zakhle, and Baalbek, as those seem to be incredibly large concentrations of either leaders and commanders of Hezbollah, or in the specific case of Baalbek and Zakhle, according to Israeli intelligence, it seems as though these two towns are being used as corridors across the Syrian border to be able to supply arms and weapons further south and into the area where Hezbollah is actually operating, south of the Litani River. So going off of that, we have an idea that the Israelis are probably going to be conducting some pretty extensive campaigns inside of Lebanon, mostly relegated on the ground level to the southern area of Lebanon, but as far as the airstrikes are concerned, probably most of the country will end up getting bombarded in some way or another as they seek to root out and destroy Hezbollah and IRGC forces that are located within the country. That's really all the information that we have at the moment on this specific area. We'll, of course, have to circle back to this after we come back from our several-day break for the vacation and see if anything's actually happened in this area. We are assuming that nothing will have. This probably will be taking weeks to unfold, or for Israel to actually take an official, solid action, so we will probably come back and the situation will still be status quo within this region, much like it's been over really the entirety of this year. But moving on from that little direction, and a little bit further on north, up into the area of our location unknowns, we actually have a couple of interesting ones up here. Some very interesting ones, I'd say. And we actually got to see the 23rd Brigade conducting a little bit of training. The pictures were interesting. This guy has a Krink, a legendary rifle. This guy also has a Krink, a legendary rifle, or a carbine if you want to call it that. And we can see these two guys here have AK-74s. We can then see them driving around a Max Pro that is heavily covered with a camouflage net. Really cool to see, and we love the Max Pros. They're incredibly good vehicles. We can also see it being accompanied by a T-64BV that also has a kind of a armor slat around the back of the turret. I know someone gave me the official name for those. I keep on forgetting the official name of them. I just called them the armor slats. And then finally, we got to see some infantrymen training with AK-74s, as I'm supposing that they're simulating open warfare on the plains of Ukraine, not necessarily trench warfare, although this guy is in some sort of a dugout or maybe an incredibly small trench work somewhere in the training field. But this is largely showing us the way that the 23rd Brigade is conducting their training, and hopefully this will lead them to be a lot more effective of a fighting unit and allow them to have greater success on the defensive in the battlefields throughout most of the interior of Ukraine. But moving on from that little bit of location unknown news and on into our next bit, we also got to see a first in history. This is the first AT launcher drone that we have ever seen. I'm just going to show y'all the clip and mute it, but we'll leave it at that and just show y'all what this is. So as you can see,
Man, they put the whole rocket launcher on the bottom of that drone. That's crazy.
man, it is crazy. They put an entire law, I think, on the bottom of this thing. Or it's an AT-4. I can't really tell, but it's about to fire it here in a second. And there it goes. A dead-on impact to the target that they were aiming at. Really crazy stuff, actually, to see that they have made a drone that can actually do this. And here's the view from the ground. I mean, this is wild. This is crazy. A huge technological innovation if we've ever seen one. Because while the British have ended up coming up with a drone that actually can fire a specially made missile, these things are being made by Ukraine pretty cheaply and effectively, and it looks like they may be pushed into service here within the next month or two. But still,
I have no idea how that drone handles the recoil of that thing, because that's a large, like, munition being fired on that little rocket launcher right there. How the hell does a drone, which is already like a feat of like flying and engineering itself, handle that much recoil? That's the real question I want to know.
that's a really good question. The interesting fact about it, Matthew, you're not going to believe this. Anti-tank weapons like that hardly have any recoil at all because they operate off of a recoilless system where while there's a lot of force being projected forwards, there's also a lot of force being projected backwards out of the exhaust of the tube, which means that it largely cancels itself out. So there isn't really a lot of recoil like there would be with a rifle or something along those lines because most anti-tank weapons are made recoilless, and that's also why they don't have an incredibly long range. They only have a range mostly of several hundred yards at the best, is because a lot of the actual force, a lot of the velocity is actually being projected backwards and out of the back of the tube, meaning that it kind of balances itself or cancels itself out. So largely recoilless. So it really was just a matter the whole time of making a drone big enough to carry this thing and fire it, and they finally have done it. And hopefully we'll see that these things are out on the battlefield in really large numbers here incredibly soon. But moving on from that, we also got to see the work of the Ukrainian volunteer artillery this summer. Oh, excuse me, we're gonna have to mute that, but we get to see Popper, little precious Popper. We love Popper. And we see them here moving around, moving their shells, walking through the woods to their artillery piece. And they're about to get that big piece, that long-lasting piece, and fire it at the Russians.
We're going to fire the piece, blyat.
We want to fire the piece. We want to destroy the Russians. Or something along those lines. Because that's usually how he talks, right? I mean, kind of.
I would say so, yeah.
I would say so. Seems like the delay, man, you might only be like 2 seconds now from what I can tell.
Oh, man, that's a blessing.
Man, it's a blessing. It's a blessing, man. Dude, it was horrendous, though, for, like, the first 40 minutes, man. I mean, like, geez. I would be talking, and then you just say something, or you would say something, and then it would sound like you ended, and then I'd stop. I would start, and then you were still saying something. I was like, dang, this is freaking horrendous. But can you hear me right now? Good? Is it bueno or no bueno?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly loud and clear now.
I don't think we have that much lag anymore, Matthew. It sounds maybe like a second, maybe a little less.
It's a LSA miracle, I'm telling you.
It's an LSA miracle, and that means that the stream can keep going the way the LSA intended. Put an LSA in the chat if you were happy for the lag finally disappearing. And speaking of disappearing, a lot of Russians ended up disappearing today because the casualty report was absolutely massive. Oh!
Well, damn, 10 Bobcats? That's what I'm talking about. I love to see it. 10 Bobcats on the For the Road stream. I love to see it. They give us 10 for the road. Also, I'm doing my bot check real quick. I really don't see any bots, although I might be missing one, but I don't see it. Is there one? There's one right there?
There's one right there, yeah.
Oh, no.
So
and he has the free speech here in the title. That's no good.
Everything with a grain of salt. Well, I would assume so. To whatever degree this is true.
It said sometimes an entire Dead Sea's worth. What the hell? I've never heard that before.
To whatever degree this is true, it's 100% USA, EU, NATO, Nazi, Kiev war crimes/crimes against humanity. It's like cry, seethe, and cope. It's like the Russians getting obliterated in the army in the war is what happens in war. Live with it. It's like that's your own problem right there. But beyond that, 10 Bobcat skid steers were absolutely blown away, obliterated even, completely destroyed, wiped out across the board. Incredible stuff to see, beautiful to know. But 1,220 Russian soldiers were wounded and killed over the past 24 hours, along with 48 armored personnel carriers, 79 supply trucks, 18 main battle tanks, 52 artillery pieces, 80 drones, 1 MLRS, and the 10 Bobcat skid steers. All in all, today was an incredibly good day as far as the loss report went, and it's very nice to see that the Russians were able to take such a nice number of losses, such a long-lasting loss, and hopefully this will start to greatly affect their fighting efforts on throughout the rest of the war. You know, of course, it is kind of a little bit of a drop in the bucket, really, to lose 1,220 Russian soldiers in the Russian military, but each and every day is like that these days, so it builds up across the week to really be a major impact on the Russians overall. But before we move on into the rest of the frontline news that we have inside of Ukraine, in the area of Vovchansk, in the northern area near Severodonetsk and Kupiansk, and in Bakhmut and in Pokrovsk, and also down in Zaporizhia and Kherson, we have to get to a couple of questions. It's a little early tonight. Some people may be noticing that because usually we get to this right at around 11 p.m. Eastern Time. It's about 10:47 p.m. Eastern Time. But I have a little bit of pressure on me tonight to make sure that this thing goes a little bit quicker, because we do have to kind of like pack and everything and get ready to leave very early in the morning tomorrow to get on our way to this whole vacation thing. So we are having to try and make this a little bit annotated, more so than normal. So it is going to be a bit of a shorter stream tonight. But Matthew, nevertheless, I understand that we have a very interesting question that we've asked everyone about the Middle East, and also we have some very interesting questions from the folks out in the live chat. So what do we got, Matthew?
All right, so we do currently have a poll running, and it says, do you think that Israel is really going to open a full-scale war with Hezbollah in Lebanon, like they said they were going to do? And it looks like 65% said yes, Israel will move on them, while 18% said only time will tell, and 10% said no, Israel is simply bluffing once again. And I have to admit, this is not the first time that Israel said they're going to go into Lebanon. And actually, it's been months, actually months and months and months, where Israel has actually not done that. So I'm not really sure. I'm kind of with the 18%. I think only time will tell on this one. There's really no guarantee they're actually going to do this, because Israel's kind of like saying things quite a bit these days and really not following through all the way. So I have some doubts. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would have to say, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, I would say that Israel will probably make a move on them, but it's not going to be paramount to a full-scale war, in my opinion, because you're absolutely right. The Israelis do say a lot, and they don't really follow through on it, but that's not really because of the Israelis. That's mostly because of the United States putting pressure on them behind the scenes. So because of that, the Israelis never really get to do exactly what they're saying they're going to do. So I would expect that they're probably going to start conducting heavier airstrikes, which is still a step in the right direction. But they will not be able to actually go in and start wiping out Hezbollah forces within southern Lebanon, because the United States is going to be putting so much pressure on them not to do so. And so I hope that addresses that fairly well, at least from what I'm seeing and what I would think would be happening based off of the trends that we've seen in this area so far. But before we move on back into the news, let us make sure to get a couple of questions. And so, Matthew, who was our first question?
All right, so our first live chat, or excuse me, our first super chat question of the night is going to go to Andy L., a longtime channel legend, who puts in a $100 donation. And thank you very much, Andy, as always, for supporting the channel. He said, I can't stay, but I wanted to drop in and wish you guys a fun and relaxing vacation, long-lasting vacation. He said, get rested and recharged, and long live the LSA, and good night.
And thank you so much for the incredibly massive support, Andy L. And good night to you if you already gotten off. But I gotta say, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. Thank you for having been with us for so long. Tonight is weird for me. Like, I actually don't know how to feel running this stream, as I feel excited about the vacation tomorrow, but I also feel really sad because this is the first time ever outside of Christmas and Thanksgiving that we have taken days off. In fact, this is the largest amount of days we've taken off in 3 years of running the show. Like, I've never taken this many days off, and it feels really weird. I don't really know how to feel about it, because I actually feel kind of a little bit sad about it, really. Like, because I'm like, dang, I won't be able to be on air and get to talk to all of y'all every single night. We'll have fun on the trip for sure, but I know I'll be missing every single one of y'all and getting to tell you all the news that we've been doing for literally non-stop. I don't even know what in the world I'm really going to do on a vacation, y'all, because we literally have never stopped working. I mean, we have been working practically 7 days a week for 3 straight years now. We've never had that much time off. Maybe Christmas, maybe Thanksgiving, but that's like a day or two at a time. And usually you can come up with something to do during a day or two, but not for like 5 days. I mean, that is actually crazy to me. And so really quickly, because I saw someone say how long off, tonight is the last night we're going to be on stream for several days. That doesn't mean we're off air forever now. This isn't like the season finale or anything. We are going to be off air from September 14th. You can actually see the time down there in the bottom right of my screen. So make sure to adjust your clocks off of that if you want to know when we're going to be back on air. Because right now, in our time zone, it is September 13th. So that means that tomorrow, September 14th, is going to be the first day that we're not running a live stream. And that will be that way until September 19th. September 19th is when we plan to be able to run our next stream. But from the 14th to the 18th, there's not going to be a single stream at all. At least because we will not be at any computers to be able to run one, and also with the way that the scheduling works, we wouldn't be able to have a vacation if we kept running the show, because we have to stay up when we run these streams until like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then you wake up at like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the middle of the day. Specifically, I do, because I stay up usually until 4 o'clock in the morning because I drink so much coffee. And if we did it that way, we wouldn't ever be able to do anything on the vacation, because we would literally just be living to work and just kind of moving everything around and causing a lot of hassle to not really have a vacation out of it. So I hope that addresses kind of like the time parameters, just in case y'all are wondering when it's going to be happening. If y'all haven't heard that yet, it's going to be the 14th to the 18th. So this is a last stream before our break off, and then we'll be back on the 19th, which will be, I think, let's see here. If today is the 13th, so 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that would be about 6 days from now. We will be back on air in about 6 days, and then we'll be, of course, covering the news for each and every one of y'all once again. I know all of y'all are talking about enforcer withdrawals. I think I'm going to have LSA withdrawals, because I don't really know what I'm actually going to be doing. I'm going to have like a reflex every day I'm on vacation. I'm going to be like, I got to get to work. I got to stream. I got to write. I'm going to be like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be on vacation. And then I'm going to come back and go absolutely ham. So with that, I hope that gets
But don't
out.
worry, though, because if something does happen during the vacation, I do have my entire setup with me. So we will make a video on it. We will take the time to do that. So if something goes down, and I'm like worried as hell, thinking the moment we leave tomorrow for the vacation, something big is going to happen, like immediately after we leave. I'm going to be like, oh my God, like no way it just happened the day we left. But if that happens, we'll be covered because we have the whole mobile studio set up. So I have a feeling you'll probably be hearing from us on a video at least before the next time we stream, which will sort of stave off the withdrawal symptoms just a little bit, if that's even possible. I'd have to go ask Hot Dog Man on that because he's the expert. But but Enforcer might make a video as well. I'm not really sure, but we're kind of up in the air about that.
It kind of depends on the day, because today was supposed to be my day to put out a video, but then I wasn't able to, because there was a whole load of stuff that happened in the background. There was actually interesting news that did come out today. It's just that there was a million things that I had to tend to where I was like, I can't do it even if I wanted to, because, you know, I'm not going to be here to be able to tend to some of these things over for like the next 5 or 6 days. So we will be putting out videos, though. We are going to be keeping up our schedule while we're on the trip. So tomorrow's Matthew's day. I don't even know how the hell Matthew would make a video tomorrow, because he knows what we're doing. But if there was any reason to make a video, he will be the one to make the video that day. And then the next day after that will be my day. And then the day after that will be Matthew's, and so on until we come back. So if anything big happens on any day, we'll be still keeping up our schedule. And one of us or the other will be uploading a video to talk about exactly what that giant thing is. But with that, I hope that does address that fairly well, at least all of that, like all of the housekeeping stuff and everything that's going to be actually happening. But thank you once again, Andy L, for wanting us to have a great time on this vacation. I know we certainly will, because this vacation, interestingly enough, it was largely started by me, but planned entirely by Matthew, the concept about this vacation. And when y'all hear what it was, y'all be like, oh yeah, that was a really enforcer kind of a thing to do. Not really an enforcer Matt kind of a thing to do, or just a vacation in general. It was a very enforcer kind of a thing that was done here. So y'all will hear all about it when we get back, though, because I would love to be able to tell you all about it, because there's a lot of cool stuff we could rabbit hole on actually with what we're about to do. But I'm so happy that everyone wants us to have a fun time, and I got to thank you so much for the kind words as well, Andy L, and massively supporting this channel and helping it to keep on running. Because if it was not for folks like you, we wouldn't have been able to keep this thing running for so long, 933 days as of today. And so a big thanks to you once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And of course, long live the Lee Spring Army. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, so our next super chat is going to go to Live Laugh Toaster Bath, another channel legend who puts in an $80 donation. And thank you very much, Live Laugh
Hey!
Toaster, for that support. They said, for the holiday fund, enjoy gents. And can we get a pimp marmot for the folks? And take one from the chat in LSA.
And you can get a pimp marmot from the Canva, because it's not from the live chat, but it's from the Canva. What's up, bitches? Oh, it's the
hello
marmot!
there, Governor. Hello there. Could I just do a hot dog, good sir? A juicy hot dog, good sir? Or would you like a puff on the pipe, Bliat? Either way. But anyways, what say you?
Aw, man, they're going on a vacation. Aw, man, quick, go over there and try and poach some subs because I'm losing about 70 a day. Aw, man.
Oh, yes, Governor, we have poachers in our midst. That damn bastard, he's going to come over here and try to poach some tusks. He's not going to work, Governor. He's going away.
Man, I'm telling you what, man. Dude, I don't know about you, man, but no joke, I've actually seen some poachers in here tonight. We're going to be going off air, and then people come in here for, like, different channels, and they're like, oh, come watch this channel. And not only is it going to be still on, it's way better. It's like, that is the rudest thing I've ever seen. Because I discourage y'all from going around and poaching other channels. Like, y'all can go to town on y'all's own social media and telling people by word of mouth all y'all want. But going over to someone else's YouTube channel in their live chat, in the middle of their live stream or one of their videos, and being like, this guy sucks, the enforcer is better. It's like, that is like one of the rudest things that anyone could ever do. And like, I've seen it a bit tonight. And Matthew's been either getting rid of those comments or banning some of those people outright, especially if they're really poaching. But still, I got to thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, Live Laugh Toaster Bath, and letting us see the Pimp Marmot. The Pimp Marmot is truly incredible and amazing. It's a creation of the LSA 100%. And so thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, also, by the way, like, I'm not saying that y'all can't say LSA anywhere else. Like, y'all can 100% say LSA, because that doesn't tell anyone what channel you're from or anything. Like, people will know, but it doesn't, like, advertise it or anything. But as far as going over to someone else's channel and being like, hey, they suck, come watch the Enforcer, like, don't do that. That is so rude. But if you want to say LSA, I don't see any harm in that at all. But anyways, with that, thank you so much once again for support, Live Laugh Toaster Bath, and we will make sure to take a live chat in your honor. And so, what do we got, Matthew?
All right, so this live chat question, while I grab another bot in the live chat, this one goes to Dingbad YouTube, who says, did China tell the Russians no nukes?
Probably not. I haven't heard anything about that in behind closed doors, and also nothing has really happened yet that's serious enough for the Russians to warrant the use of a nuke. So I would largely say no. They probably haven't, because there's been no reason to yet. And not only that, the Russians, like, if anyone has complete sovereignty over something and no one can really tell them how to use it, it's nuclear weapons. So the Chinese would probably feel like that's crossing a boundary to tell the Russians they can't use their own nuclear weapons, because what are they going to do to stop them from using their nuclear weapons? Nuke them? I mean, but still, I hope that does answer that question well, because I don't think they've done that. At least in my sense of logic, I don't think they could have or would have, but I could be wrong with that, so take it with a grain of salt. But with that, I hope that does address that well, and we are on to the last question of this segment, and then we're going to be getting back into the Ukrainian frontline news.
All right, and the last one of the segment is going to go to Rumpelstiltskin, who puts in a $50 donation. And Rumpels, enjoy a little extra for your vacation. And I've appreciated the insight and free content that you've shared over the years since Mike. And also, yesterday's rant on U.S. long-range missile policy was dead on. And thanks for all the hard work.
And thank you so much for the support, Rumpelstiltskin, and helping this channel keep on running. Thank you for wanting us to take a great vacation. Every single super chat tonight is saying something about have a great trip, have a great vacation, and I thank you so much for that. It's going to be an incredible one. It's going to be very fun, and I just can't wait to be able to tell all of y'all about it. I can't wait to really get started on it, but at the same time, I'm going to miss y'all an insanely huge deal, because this has been my life. Like, this has been Matthew and this has been our our life, Matthew and mine, for years now. This is all we've done. This is all we do. We wake up and
This is all we know.
This is
wake up in the morning, the basement, and the stream. I'm telling you what, the channel is 24/7. It's like there's no hours. It's not like 70 hours, 80 hours a week. For me, it's turned into around the clock, like on call basically at this point. I think it's turned that way for the Enforcer as well. But I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest.
Man, 100%, man. Especially now with a video editor and a composer in the background, it's like I just have to respond to emails whenever they come in, and so it has become a around the clock thing for me as well. I mean, it's really an unlimited amount of hours. It's endless service in the work of the LSA. That's what we've been doing for years, and it's really weird to think that that is going to be coming to an end for a few days. Like even just a few days, we'll be back at it on the 19th of September. But it's like, it's so, I cannot say this enough, y'all. I can't get this across because I don't even think I'm conveying it properly with the kind of words I'm saying versus how it feels. Like, it feels weird. It's like I'm just walking away from working every day. This is all I've done, and this is all I've known for years now. Like, I would go to college, and I was when I was an undergrad getting a bachelor's degree, and as soon as I would leave the college, while I was even at the college, I would still be working on stuff on the YouTube channel, and I would come home and I'd be working immediately on the YouTube channel. And then at law school it was like that, and then when we got out of law school, we just like soaked up all that free time that we got, not having to go to a college or a law school, just working on this. And now it's just, we're just going to be going on a trip for a few days. It's the weirdest thing ever when you get used to working. It really is bizarre. Like, I don't even know how in the world to actually quantify that into words, but I still thank you so much once again for having been here forever, Rumpelstiltskin, and wanting us to take a little extra on the vacation, and we will be taking a little extra, and hopefully doing a little bit extra, nothing too extravagant. Y'all know we don't drink, and we're not really the partying type either, but maybe we'll do something neat. I don't really know what extra we could do neat. I don't know, maybe get an extra Coke maybe, or something like that, but still, thank you so much once again for the support, and thank you so much for enjoying the long rant, or the speech. Some people call it a speech, some people call it a rant, some people call it rambling, whatever you want to call it. I thank you so much for appreciating it, though, because I feel like it was largely on point. It kind of conveys like my feelings on the matter, and I don't really get to talk about that stuff too much, but it always aggravates me a lot on how I would run things in the U.S. government and how people are actually running things in the U.S. government. That's why y'all ought to vote for me for president in 2040, because I'm going to be bringing around a more sensible approach to things instead of whatever the hell is going on these days. And that's directed to both sides. Don't come in here saying, because that's directed at everyone across the board, not anyone in particular. But anyways, still, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, Rumpelstiltskin. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are now getting right back into the news, specifically in the Vovchansk front, as we got to see a drone being taken down in this area. And look at this. It is a Russian recon drone, like a small little Horden 229. But the Ukrainians don't think it's a cool recon drone. They think that thing's a Ho 229, and bam, and they got it.
Man. Horton, here's a hoe.
And there goes the drone barreling down to the ground right over the town. It doesn't have any explosive charge in it, so it's perfectly fine. It's not going to be hurting anyone or killing anyone for that matter, so really fortunate on that end. But that's the end of the clip, and really interesting to see. Moving on from that and on up into the northern area of Kupiansk, we also get to see some Ukrainian soldiers riding along on the fields. Oh, and we got rock. And we can see them riding along. Look at them. They're just having a great time here. A wonderful time.
Man, I love to see it. The Russians, when they're riding on top of tanks and vehicles like this, they usually don't have a great time. They usually find themselves with 3 tons on top of them.
Man, you know what the Russians are saying there, man? When they're on top of the vehicle, they're like, "Let me sit on the windshield. Tony, drive better. What are you doing? I can't see. Please drive better." And then they flip it over or something. Oh, look, the driver's right there. Skirt! And they're gonna whip that thing. Whip it, baby. Oh, they got the machine gun covered up with some sarin wrap. Very smart, especially for cooking.
This guy's like the best cameraman ever. Like how he's able to hold that camera steady is wild.
Dude.
Some people can't even film stuff like normal, like when they're on the ground, like normally. That guy was holding it steady even while the thing was bouncing.
Dude, the worst cameramen in the world, though, are middle schoolers trying to film a school fight, man. Every single one of those clips, you never saw the fight. You just saw someone's pant leg, and that was it. It was like, can you actually film the fight instead of just letting us hear the sounds of everyone screaming, please? That is, by the way, a direct anecdote on our life growing up in school, because there were so many fights. It was actually kind of like a pay-per-view attraction for someone to film them, so that way everyone else could watch it. But moving on from that, and into Krasnoyarsk, we also get to see a little BMP-2 fail. Whoa, it careened into a ditch. Kind of like the entire Russian army does these days. See them just flying over it, taking a good gander down there. Looking at the smoke grenade launches, looking at the drivers, the pilot hull, and that's the end of the clip. But that little BMP-2 didn't have that great of a day, I'll tell you that. And we also got to see Russian forces also getting destroyed by the Baba Yaga in this area around the Seberansky forest. Look at these Russians down there moving around their vehicle. Oh my goodness! The Baba Yaga got him. Baba Yaga bleed.
Oh, Baba Yaga.
Dang! Blew open the engine bay and everything, man. Like, they got a full service on that thing.
They had mixed feelings about that. They usually like Baba Yaga, but not today.
Not today, Bliet. And oh my lord, they are blowing up this tank, Bliet. And Shargy, you were absolutely right. The LSA does grow stronger every single day, and the phrase is true, the LSA will never die. And that's the end of that clip on that perfect note right there. And we are now moving on into our next clip in the Seberansky forest, where we got to see the Ukrainians giving the Russians a hot shower. Check it out. Everyone likes a hot shower, except for the Russians, because the way the Ukrainians give them a hot shower, it's a little different. Observe. There is the tree line, and there, down there in the bottom left, is the hot shower.
Bathing in thermite, Bliat. It's bad for the skin. It's not very rejuvenating. It's degenerating.
Man. It's beautiful, though, in the sunset, in the sparkling... Oh, look, they're trying to shoot the drone down before it gets to them. Bliat, get it off me! They don't want the shower, but they're going to get it nonetheless.
Man, that thing is determined. Nothing's stopping it. None of the tracers, nothing.
Oh my lord, man. They are really trying to lay into this thing and they can't hit it. Dude, they're shooting at like point blank range. Just shoot at the giant glowing orb flying over the trees. It's not that hard.
I wonder if they're able to actually get that like thermite on top of anything, like, you know, like targets, if you know what I mean, because it seems like it might be a little tough. It seems like maybe the goal is like catch the trees on fire or something, because surely they're not able to like put it right on top of the target.
Maybe? I don't really know. That's a good question, though, and it looks like it finally burned the drone and it finally impacted the ground there, bringing it into the drone strike. But still, the Russians didn't get to shoot the thing down at all, because some people are going to be saying, well, it went down. The thermite grenades eventually end up actually burning the drone as well and destroying it, which is why in every single clip you'll see the drone rapidly climb in altitude and then come barreling back down towards the ground, is because the thermite drone at that point is actually starting to burn the drone apart. But that's the end of that clip. Really interesting to see, and maybe we'll find some answers to Matthew's question in between now and when we come back on the 19th. But moving on from that and into the area of Bakhmut, we also got to see the 74th Shadow Wizard Money Gang hitting the Russians as well. And check out this clip. Whoa, we're going to have to be muting that, but look at the Shadow Wizard Money Gang go. Hitting a Mista.
The Shadow Wizard Money Gang.
They love casting spells. Jinx. Man. Oh!
Where was that from, by the way? Where'd you get that, like, a little reference from?
I don't even know, man. Let me go pull it up, though. I wonder if I can actually get the audio clip of Shadow Wizard Money Gang. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Dude, I found it. Here we go.
Shadow Wizard Money Gang. We love casting spells.
Man, what the hell is that?
This song is sponsored.
Oh my lord, that was so goofy. Oh my goodness!
Damn. Man, while that radio tag was dropping, they were dropping some sick beats out here, I'm telling you.
Bro, they said, we love casting spells. Some Russian tank turned into a nuclear bomb out there in the field. Oh, my Lord. Oh, and we can see the Russians about to really get hit by the Shadow Wizard money gang. Oh, dead on the nail. Man, isn't that guy who did the Shadow Wizard money gang, isn't he the one who also did like the best hits of the Reich or some crap like that?
Oh man, maybe I forgot all about that one. That was the interesting radio tag on that one.
That one was the not so good tag, but still, it was one that was remembered by many because of how ridiculous it was. But I think that guy was the one who makes like all of the crazy radio tag things.
I think so. It could be.
Shadow Wizard money gang, we love casting spells. Bam! What the hell? Like toilet paper went flying out of the dirt right there. Oh, look at this. It's a little snowy. And what is that? Oh my goodness. I don't even know. It's like a command post or something. But it doesn't matter what it is, because all that matters is that it gets blown up. Oh! All of our drones keep blowing up! But we can see the command vehicle now on fire right there. Also, Matthew, I just remembered, I need to get this part right here, man. This is every single bot that comes into this channel. This is what they say right here, Matthew.
This song is sponsored by the Shadow Government.
That's on every single
That's those random crap in those radio tag, like the Shadow Wizard money gang, and also sponsored by the Shadow Government. So this is like some trippy stuff right here.
Oh, man. But, dude, that's what every single bot comes in and says. They say, these guys are sponsored by the Shadow Government. It's like, no, we're not. It's like, it would be nice if we were. Funding wouldn't be an issue. But, you know, it's like, sometimes it's not that easy. But we can see, oh my goodness, they just obliterated a Nona. Matthew, do you know where these Nonas were?
Where?
None of
were
your
they?
business.
Oh my god.
Oh, and they got the other one. Oh, and of course, big shout out to, wait, this isn't Pigeon Forge, but big shout out to them nevertheless. But moving on out of the Bakhmut area and down the line and into Novobabukivka, we also get to see a drone getting shot down by the Ukrainians in this area. It's like the same kind of a drone that we saw up in Vovchansk, it's just in a different area. It seems like the Ukrainians are starting to use drone-to-drone interceptions as a very common tactic these days. And with that, that's the end of the clip, but really nice to see that interception end up successful. And we're now going to be moving on into our next clip, where we also get to see Ukrainian Boldana giving him the grease. Ooh!
Dang, he's got some recoil.
Man, that was my reaction to that clip. But anyways, moving on from that, we also get to see Ukrainian drones showing us the skies above. And we get to hear that lo-fi music, you know, it's like, the song of summer, or something like that, you know, it's like, man, it's one of those stupid songs they used to play in, like, an outfitter store. You know the one I'm talking about, man? The trees, the grass, the flowing of the breeze. You know, and
it's kind of like those travel vlog videos, you know, they're about to go pick up the muffin for breakfast or something like that, and they play that song.
Or Hot Dog Man's stupid ass watching someone bake muffins in the middle of a war zone. Remember that clip? Remember that one,
Yeah.
Matthew?
Or it could be like the music you play for like a sob story and say, you see, the addiction all started at 5. It's like, it could be that too.
And then it just cuts into the trees, the summer, the flowing of the trees, or something like that. It's like, this isn't even fitting, really. I mean, but anyways, we got to see the Russian scouts conducting what? Let's see what? What?
Oh, the flowing of the crack.
Wait, hang on. Let me do it like him. The weed, the meth, the flowing of the weed, or something like that.
That was a good one.
The fent get you bent when you're rolling around the street. Something like that. Oh man, we can see this is actually, by the way, a Russian perspective here. This is filmed by a Russian. Oh! Ukrainian artillery is on the mark almost immediately. Oh! Why is he firing into the mortar fire? That makes no sense. This is chaos.
Filmed on Timu.
Big shout out to Alibaba and his 40 thieves for giving this guy the camera. On his way, going hiding when I come riding. Dude, I don't think they're on the winning side of this exchange. Well, that's the end of that clip.
That guy was literally taking such direct fire, it was hitting the berm right in front of him.
Yeah, that was wild. I don't know if they were on the winning side of that fight, but it certainly was one hell of a fight to really get nowhere today over the course of like 24 hours. We also got to see the Russians getting slammed by the 15th Motorized Rifle Brigade's drones. So check that one out. Oh! And oh, goodness, they hit this tank 2 times.
4 times.
Ag. But we can see them now hitting a 4th time blade. Ag. And with that, that's the end of the clip, but really nice to see that the 15th Motor Rifle Brigade was taking out some of the Russian tanks. Moving on from that and into Staromykhalivka, we also got to see them hitting a Scooby-Doo van. Like, Zoing Scoob, I think they target us. Raggy, hellfire! But we can see the drone coming right down into the Bahanka, hitting it right there, knocking it out, turning it into a nice burning cinder on the highway. Wonderful to see, and hopefully the Ukrainians can keep it up a little bit. Moving on down and deep into the areas of Zaporizhia, we also get to see a Ukrainian deep strike behind the Russian lines as they targeted and destroyed a small Russian supply post and also some rail cars. We can see the rail cars on fire here, burning quite nicely in the pale moonlight.
Do you think that hose is sufficient for this fire?
No. Well, actually, it looks like it may have been, because they put it out, actually. Oh, well, apparently not, because they brought out the Michelin men the next day to also try their luck at putting out the fire.
I bet they wish they had those at Chernobyl.
That's probably... Dude, these guys look like they're fighting a volcano down here with this kind of protective gear. It's like, geez. So that's new. We don't really see that much. But moving on out of that area and on down into the Kinburn Spit, we also got to see that the Ukrainians were hitting them Russians with some artillery. Check this out. All right, we're going to be muting the trap, but we can see them towing the artillery, loading up the artillery, getting it ready to fire, shooting and scooting, booting and tooting. Aw, man.
Rootin' tootin' Vladimir Putin.
Man, now that the enforcers will be gone on a vacation for a couple of days, I can actually try to get some subs. Puts out the stupidest, most mainstream takes ever, loses another 90. It's like a rip bozo. It's like, but anyway, so you also got to see part 2 of the shelling that was going on in this area. Check this out. Oh, we got to mute that again. Sorry, everyone. Just had to make sure, though. You see them now firing their pieces. A long-lasting piece. Oh! 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 Loading. Oh my goodness. It's just an endless barrage. Oh my goodness.
This is a lot of smashing.
Man, smashing! And now they're covering it up, and that was the end of the clip right there. Missing signal, because those Russians are missing. Anyways, that's the end of that clip right there. Really interesting to see, and we're now going to be moving on out of the Kinburn Spit and on up to Kyiv to cover the speech for President Volodymyr Zelenskyy here on day 933 of the war. And so, without further ado, here is the speech from President Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
Dear Ukrainians.
Oh, no, no.
Dear Ukrainians, I wish you good health.
Dear Ukrainians, I wish you impeccable health during your time of need. But here we go. Here is the speech.
Дорогі українці, українки, перш за все вдячність нашим воїнам, бойовим підрозділам, які поповнюють обмінний фонд для нашої держави на різних напрямках. Також наші спеціальні служби, які протидіють диверсантам, колаборантам. Завдяки саме такій роботі представники України, наша команда щодо обмінів може звільняти наших людей з російського полону. Сьогодні черговий обмін. Ще 49 українців і українок вдома. Серед них і військові, і цивільні. Воїни Збройних сил, наші прикордонники, Національна гвардія, зокрема захисники і захисниці Азовсталі. І також 2 поліцейських. Серед цивільних наших людей Ленія Умєрова, дівчина, яку росіяни захопили в Криму, коли вона їхала до хворого батька. Повернута і Героя України, військового медика Віктора Івчука. Я дякую усій нашій команді, яка займається обмінами. Всім, хто задіяний і чия робота все це забезпечує. Збройним силам, ГУР, СБУ, керівнику Офісу, омбудсмену дякую. Загалом вдалося повернути з полону вже 3569 українців і українок. Сьогодні ж був дуже активний день для нашої міжнародної комунікації. Почав роботу щорічний форум Ялтинської європейської стратегії. Для України важливо, щоб наші аргументи щодо далекобійної зброї та всієї оборонної співпраці з партнерами були почуті. На полях форуму зустрівся з міністрами закордонних справ Литви та Польщі. Я подякував за підтримку, також говорив з головою Мюнхенської безпекової конференції. Це один із найбільш впливових в Європі майданчиків щодо зовнішньої і безпекової політики. Зустрівся також з Майком Помпео, екс-держсекретарем Америки. Був на форумі Борис Джонсон, один з найбільших друзів України. Я подякував йому за незмінну допомогу з 2022 року. Сьогодні ж зустрівся з міністром оборони Данії. Дуже змістовна зустріч. Данія є першою країною, з якою ми почали спільне виробництво зброї. І вже ця зброя допомагає на фронті. Разом робимо Богдани. Звичайно, говорили і про інші аспекти нашої взаємодії, зокрема F-16. Данія дійсно один з лідерів в підтримці нашої оборонки. Дякую, Метте, пані прем'єр-міністру, усьому данському народові. Сьогодні ж разом з першою леді України зустрілась з відомим актором та небайдужою особистістю Майклом Дугласом. Він дуже допомагає нам тримати увагу до правди про війну, допомагає United 24. Подякували йому за це сьогодні. Ще одне Щойно була доповідь міністра оборони України Рустема Умєрова. Доповідав сьогодні головком Олександр Сирський. Перший пріоритет – це зброя для наших воїнів на Покровському, на Курахівському, Торецькому напрямках, на всіх Донецьких напрямках. Загалом по фронту це і питання постачання, і питання виробництва як в Україні, так і спільного з партнерами. Завдання – максимально зміцнити наші позиції та максимально тиснути на Росію. Цю війну можна завершити справедливо тільки на сильних позиціях. Все для цього ми робимо. Все. Слава Україні!
And Huram Slava. And with that, that is the end of the speech from President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, and that also wraps up our news for the night. We are now going to be moving on into our question segment, where we get to talk to every single one of y'all, and it is an incredibly fun segment, without a doubt. Of course, I have to make this quite clear that this is the last question segment before we take off for a couple of days, but the next stream that will be running past this one, to make sure that everyone knows, will be on the 19th or the 20th of September. So there will be no streams in between this one right now and the 19th or the 20th of September, just to put that out there again. So if you show up tomorrow or the next day or Tuesday or Wednesday, these upcoming days, and there is no stream, do not be shocked. We are not able to run one. We are off on a vacation at that point. We will be back and we will be running them. It's just that it will not be during that time. But with that, Matthew, take it away.
All right, so we currently have a poll running, and damn, I love those polls. It says, the U.S. says it won't change its Ukraine policy on long-range weapons. Wow. Also, Britain now says no as well. Wow. And what are your thoughts? 49% said Putin successfully scared the West, while 23% said the USA was never going to say yes, and 15% said it was just misinformation by the United States. And to me, it sounds like Putin might have successfully scared off the United States and also the Western world from allowing Ukraine to strike long range into Russia. At this point, I'm really not sure if that was a wise decision or not. Obviously, Ukraine needed that to be able to decisively win the war in the short term, but now that that's not the case, it sounds like Britain is now backing off the Storm Shadow promise that they made the other day. So it sounds like long-range weapons will not be able to be used inside of Russia for long-range strikes, which is certainly a disappointment for Ukraine. It's not going to be like, ground shattering or something like that, where Ukraine's going to lose the war, but it's certainly going to make things a little bit harder. So, Enforcer, what say you?
I would have to say that Putin has probably ended up scaring the West a good bit. That seems to be largely on cue these days. It's almost incredibly easy to do such a thing. But with that in mind, I will say that hopefully that will change here in the near future. And so I hope that does address that somewhat well. There's a lot that we can say about that, but I feel like I've beaten that senseless over the past few days. But a very disappointing move by both the UK and the United States. But anyways, with that, Matthew, take us on into these questions. I understand that we have a lot of questions.
All right, so jumping right back into our Super Chat segment here, we have one from Not Quantum Physics. And man, I'm glad it's not quantum physics. That would be over my pay grade. But they put in a $27 donation, and thank you very much, good sir, for that support. They said, get some rest, guys, and enjoy yourselves. They put in, looks like some wine or something. Looks like a shrimp and a grape. That sounds like a hell of a meal right there. I'm telling you what, and thank you very much for that support. And Enforcer, what say you?
And I gotta say, thank you so much for the support, not quantum physics, because quantum physics is tough. Very tough. Incredibly tough. Wildly tough. And I gotta thank you once again for enjoying us a great time on this vacation, or hoping that we have a great time on this vacation, and also putting in such incredible emojis as a glass of wine, a shrimp, and also a grape, because we do appreciate those, except for the drink, because we don't drink. But still, thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running. And we will have a good one, and we will be so excited to tell you all about it when we get back. And so thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well, and we are on to the next one.
All right, and our next one is going to go to Ari Sawini, who's a longtime channel legend and old guard, by the way, who puts in a $25 donation, and huge shout out to Kiwi wife and Finn, Ari Sawini, for that support. They said, happy vacation and do return, and all will say. And don't worry, we'll be back shortly. We'll be back probably on Thursday, that is. So we are returning, so have no fear about that, but the withdrawals will be probably tough for everybody, including us. But thank you very much, Ari. And Enforcer, what say you?
I gotta thank you for support, Ari Sweeney, and we will return because I wouldn't know what to do with my life if I just stopped doing this entirely and just went and did whatever. I really wouldn't know what to do. It's not necessarily about it being a job, because some people can't stop doing this because it's a job. You know, and we, in a way, I guess we couldn't really stop doing it either, although I'm pretty sure we could go find other employment, you know, and do perfectly fine at it. It's still, for me, though, coming back and doing this is because I've gotten so used to doing it, and this is all I do. What in the world could I do beyond this? I have no clue. Like, I really don't. This is the only place I want to be. This is the only thing I want to do. And I got to thank you so much once again for having been here with us for such a long time, supporting this channel and helping to keep on running, and also hoping that we have a happy vacation. And a huge thanks and a huge shout out, by the way, to Ari Sweeney, Kiwi wife, and Finn. And so with that, thank you greatly. And we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Stephen DeWeese, who puts in a 20 as well. And thank you very much, Stephen, for that support. And he said, hello, Enforcers, and I've been here since the day LSA was coined. That means he is old guard, by the way. And he said, my sister and brother-in-law, Cindy and Chris Schuler, watch you as religiously as I do. And keep up the fantastic work.
Hey, and thank you so much for the support, Stephen DeWeese, if I'm saying that correctly. And also, thank you for being here for so long. I mean, the LSA being coined was years ago. Next year, we'll actually have the 3rd anniversary of the LSA as an organization, which is really crazy. I mean, it's absolutely nuts to think it's been going for that long. And also, really cool to know that your sister and brother-in-law also watch the show. That is incredibly cool. Big shout out to them. Hello! And I hope you all been enjoying the show tonight, along with Stefan. And I got to thank you all so much for enjoying our fantastic work that we've been keeping up for 3 years, and getting a lot out of the show, hopefully. We've hopefully given a lot to folks with the way we've covered this news, the kind of news that we've covered, how up to date and how quick we are with getting major news out. I hope that that's really made a difference for some people and has really counted for something. Because I would hate to know that we run this channel and it has been for absolutely nothing over 3 years. And so thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running. And thank you for being here tonight. The last night will be on air before we return on the 19th and the 20th. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that the best I can. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And our next one here goes to Steve Edwards, who puts in a $20 donation. And thank you very much, Steve, as well, for that support. He said, LSA, and I hope you have a great vacation. And thank you, Steve.
And thank you so much, Steve. And I'm sure we will. Because we are getting so many have a good vacation wishes. There's no way we couldn't have a good vacation at this point. Because everyone's wishing for it. And if everyone wishes for something, it happens. And so with that, thank you so much once again. Thank you greatly for that. And thank you for always having been here for a while, Steve Edwards. You've been here for an incredibly long time. And I thank you for supporting the channel tonight and helping us to keep this thing on rolling. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next super chat goes to Melinda Grifford Vaughn, also longtime channel legend, who puts in a $20 donation. And thank you very much, Melinda. They said, enjoy your trip, and thanks for all you do, and take one from the live chat.
Hey, and thank you so much for the support, Melinda Grifford Vaughn, another old guard of the channel, having been around forever at this point. I can't actually think of a time that you have not been around Melinda Grifford Vaughn, and that means that you stretch back way back to the days of the beginning of the channel. And I gotta thank you so much once again for wanting us to enjoy the trip, and thank you so much for enjoying everything we do to make this thing possible. It's really crazy to think about it, because now that I actually think, because, you know, we always talk about how much time we put into this thing on air approximately. Now that I think about how much of the day this thing takes up every day, which is all day, every day, it's really weird to think we're going to be not doing this for days. Like, that's just bizarre. Like, that is wild. It's like going to a whole new world, because no one would have ever told me years ago, you will work a job, in a sense, because this really is a job, and you will do it, you will enjoy it so much that you will work so much that a vacation will be completely foreign to you by the time you take one. I would have been like, that's crazy, because I obviously would still want to take vacations and have breaks from what I'm doing, what I do, even if I like it. And crazily enough, I've loved doing this so much, we've never taken a break for 3 years of doing this thing. That's weird. That's bizarre. And I got to thank you so much once again for having been here for that long, to see us never take a vacation, just endlessly work on this thing. But we will also make sure to take a live chat in your honor, Melinda Griffith Vaughn. And so, what do we got, Matthew?
All right, and also I see a ton of people asking, what am I going to do with my time? I really don't know, but here's a suggestion for you. If you want to go back and do something interesting, go back and listen to one of our videos, like for example, our short war videos from about a year ago with both me or the Enforcer on one of those videos, and then come back and listen to one of our most recent short war videos and be shocked, just be totally shocked, because I did that the other day and I was horrified. I was like, my God, I sound like I was in deep, dark depression like a year ago on those videos, and all of a sudden we sound like we're totally different people on the last couple we've made. So, go back and listen. I think you'll be surprised to see it. But anyways, we're moving on to that live chat question that Melinda asked for. And this one goes to Tupac. But they said, if the West refuses long-range strikes after Putin's threat, do you all think that will embolden Putin to keep attacking?
Let's see. If the West refuses, I would say yes. That would embolden Putin to continue to attack and also let drones continue to land within NATO countries, because there's no reason not to at that point, and it only serves to further intimidate the West. So I would say, as far as I would know, yes, they would encourage Putin to continue to attack Ukraine and also to inadvertently attack Western NATO countries in Eastern Europe as well. And so with that, I hope that does address that the best I can, at least in my opinion. And thank you once again, Melinda Griffith Vaughn, for sponsoring that live chat and helping this channel to keep on running. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next, big shout out to Bama 3891 for putting in a $20 donation. And thank you very much, Bama, for that support. And of course, you sound like a fellow Alabamian, like we are. So shout out to you, Alabama, while we're at it. And also, thank you very much for that support. And Enforcer, what say you?
And thank you so much for the massive support and helping this channel to keep on running. You didn't throw in a comment, but the support means a lot. And I thank you massively for enjoying this channel enough that you would want to support it and help us to be able to keep this thing rolling as a full-time job. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And our next one goes to The Planet is Dying, who puts in a $20 donation. Thank you very much for that support. Hopefully the planet is living, dying to live, you could say, getting philosophical. But they said, enjoy your vacation, Enforcers, and I love you guys. And we love you as well. We love the LSA. And also thank you very much for that support as well.
And we love you too. The planet is dying. And like Matthew said, we love the entirety of the Lee Spring Army. The Lee Spring Army is an amazing group. It's incredible. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating about that. I'm not even kidding about that. It's one of the greatest groups out there that I've ever seen. And I've been so honored to be the one, along with Matthew, to be on air, getting to talk to all of y'all every single night and get to call y'all our community, the Lee Spring Army, the Enforcers community. That is incredible to me, and I got to thank you so much once again for having been a part of that for so long and helping this channel to keep on running and being one of those loyal members of the LSA that really makes running this thing so much more worthwhile and filled with so much more purpose. And so thank you so much once again. I hope that addresses that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And we've got a super chat from Adam McLean, also channel legend, who puts in a 20. And Adam says, feel the LSA love every moment you're on vacation and buy incredible pastrami sandwich along the way.
There's nothing in the world that can compare to a pastrami, juicy and rare. But beyond that, I gotta say, thank you so much for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, Adam McLean. And we will feel the love of the LSA the entire time we're on vacation. I don't know. We might actually end up running into a couple of y'all out there. And really quickly, Matty, I was actually wanting to try and figure out something. And let me go see this. Yeah, that's interesting.
Remember OPSEC, man, OPSEC.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know OPSEC, man. I know OPSEC, but I had to check something in our Geographicus, and it does seem as though, Matthew, we may actually end up running into an okay amount of people. I'm not kidding. Like, we may actually, like, that's actually kind of interesting, but we might actually run into some of y'all. So I know that we'll feel the love of the LSA, because we might run into some of y'all out there, wherever we may be, or wherever we're going, and some of y'all be like, hey, I watch your channel. And we'll be like, no way, that's crazy. We know you. You must be in the live chat, or you must watch our videos or something like that. So we may actually run into some of y'all, keeping OPSEC, down tight, because there are a lot, like about 56% or 60% of our viewers come from the United States. But it seems as though, based off of what I was just looking at, we may actually end up running into some of y'all. I don't know. So if we do...
Or are they on the map or something? They got the viewers mapped out like the houses?
They don't have their houses mapped out, but they got their general geographic locations mapped out, like where they are in America. And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. And I'll tell you about it after the stream. But still... Thank you so much once again for the support. I have a feeling that's actually going to end up being really true, and maybe we can get a pastrami sandwich together as the LSA. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that addresses that incredibly well, and we are on to the next one.
All right, in our next one here, while I press reorganize on the spreadsheet because it's going a little bit slow, let me do the refresh. There we go. So this next one is going to go to Justice Ryan, who is yet another channel legend. And thank you very much, Justice Ryan, for always throwing in that support as well. And it's a massive $100 donation. He says, you two have a great vacation and know you deserve it. And don't get too drunk now on your vacation. And Justice Ryan, we've actually never been drunk in our life. I've never been drunk. In fact, I've only had a taste, a little wee taste of the booze, and that was enough for me. But we won't get drunk at all. We'll be drunk on the other stuff probably. But thank you very much, Justice Ryan, for that support. And Enforcer, what say you?
And I gotta say, thank you so much for the support, Justice Ryan, and helping this channel to keep on running. You've been here forever, Justice Ryan. And I gotta say, we will not get drunk. I can promise you that. We just aren't the kind to get drunk. Or drink, really, for that matter. I have had a sip here and there. It's just not for me. Like, I just don't really think I can enjoy it too much to really have fun with it. So I've never picked it up and ever gotten drunk off of it, to be entirely honest. But I still thank you so much once again for that incredibly massive support and helping this channel to keep on running. Because if it was not for folks like you, we wouldn't be able to be here and run this channel the way we do and live the lives that we live, where we've never been drunk. Like, I'm 22 and Matthew's 24, and neither of us have ever been drunk. Neither of us ever drinking a full bottle or a beverage of an alcoholic sort. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address it incredibly well, though, Justice Ryan. And thank you for wishing us the best on this vacation. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And our next super chat goes to yet another old guard. We have a lot of old guards coming out to support the channel tonight. Hey! This is Scott Mincing, who puts in a 50. And thank you very much, Scott, for that support as well. And he said, enjoy your vacations.
Hey! And we will, Scott Mincing. We are going to enjoy it immensely. I'm going to miss all y'all so badly. I don't even know. I think I might actually end up having withdrawals like y'all will. I might have to just end up, like, simulating running a stream somehow, like, just a night of every day, just to make sure that I can keep sanity. But beyond that, I got to thank you so much once again for wishing us well on the vacation. It's going to be amazing. And thank you once again for support and helping this thing to keep rolling. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to William P., who puts in a $20 donation, and he says, for your vacation snow globe fund. And also, take one from the chat and LOC.
Hey, and thank you so much for the support, William P., and helping this channel to keep on running. And that might actually be an idea to get a snow globe. What I was actually thinking, though, I was like, in all seriousness, I was actually thinking of getting a specific mug of a sort. If they're, like, physically there, like, get a mug from there, so that way the memory can be attached to the mug. But we'll see. We'll see. But still, thank you so much once again for the support. And maybe we will end up getting a snow globe. That would be pretty cool. But thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And we are on to the next one.
All right. And also, by the way, I saw someone mention this in the live chat a second ago. They mentioned the end of the Grand Tour. That last episode of the Grand Tour actually came out today. I did not have the guts to watch it, to be honest with you, because I didn't want to see a finale episode of the Grand Tour, because actually all three of those guys, Jeremy, James, and also Richard, they wrapped up their time on TV together for like the first time in like 25 years or something like that. A really long time on television. And also, it just happens to be the unfortunate fact that today's the last stream until like 5 days. So 2 bad pieces of news coming out at the same time. But also, if anyone watched that last episode, let me know how it is in the live chat, because I would like to know, but I don't want to watch the whole thing. But anyway,
Yeah, dude, we weren't supposed to tell people that. Okay, now we have to tell y'all. We actually are going to be making a video with Jeremy Clarkson. I'm just kidding. We're not we're not doing that ever. We're not on that level for Jeremy Clarkson to even talk to us. So that is not true because man, you get it, Maddie, because their show ended and our show ended at the same time. Crazy, right? You know, that was the punchline.
I was trying to figure out if I blew some OPSEC or something for a minute. I was racking my brain like I surely didn't say anything that was damaging or something like that. But man, let me try to get that adrenaline under control. Jeez, man.
Oh God! But anyways, with that, sorry about that. Didn't mean to freak you out there. But with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, so our next one here goes to Strong River Flats, who puts in a $20 donation. And thank you very much, Strong River Flats, for that support. They said have fun and stay safe.
And we will. We are going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to be staying really safe. And I hope that we're staying incredibly safe, so that way no bad things may happen on this voyage, this trip of a sort. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one is going to go to Lord Lathos LSA, who puts in a $20 donation. And thank you very much, Lord Lathos, as well. They said, I've seen a ton of folks stating LSA withdrawal, and I could not agree more. And you boys have a wonderful time, and you sure as heck have earned it. And LSA forever, long live the LSA, and take a live chat question, please.
And thank you so much for the support, Lord Lathos. You've been around forever, like literally endlessly. And also, I gotta say, I feel so bad about that. That's one of the things that makes me feel really bad. It's like, dang, we're actually not gonna be able to run a show for y'all, because on Mondays, like, I don't feel anything like of a sadness on Mondays, because I'm like, you know, like that's like our rest and recalibration day, starting a new season for the new week kind of a day. So I don't feel that bad about a Monday, but like with things like taking off Thanksgiving or taking off for Christmas, or this, which is taking off many days, the longest amount of days we've ever taken off to go on a trip, I'm like, oh my Lord, this is crazy. Like, I don't even know what to actually comprehend of this at the moment. Like, it's wild, even to me. And I gotta say, thank you for the support and helping the channel to keep on running, and thank you so much for wanting us to have a wonderful time and saying that we earned it. I don't think we earned it. I don't think that we'll ever earn anything like this. I honestly feel really bad about taking a trip or a vacation, to be honest, because we owe y'all everything. I mean, we really do owe y'all every single day and every single bit of free time that we have to make sure that we can put out news and more information to y'all, because y'all are the only reason that we have anything at all. Y'all are the only reason, like your super chat tonight, Lord Lathos, that we're able to have a job, that we're able to even do this at all. And for that reason, I feel like we owe y'all the world of making sure that we can get the most accurate news, the most up-to-date news, everything in between. And so I'd have to say huge thanks to you so much once again. Thank you, though, for saying such incredibly kind words, and we will make sure to take a live chat. But before we do, long live the LSA. And so what do we got, Matthew?
And this one goes to Barry Woodward from the live chat. He said, is there no F-16 video footage coming out? Where's it at?
There's not really a lot from what we can tell. It may be scrubbed for OPSEC reasons, or it just may be that the F-16s really aren't that active, so we don't get to see a lot of video evidence of them, one way or the other. But still, thank you once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well, and thank you so much once again for sponsoring that live chat and helping this channel to keep on running. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And up next, we have the Hawk. They're back once again, while I have a massive voice crack. But anyways, Hawk puts in a combined $100 donation between two different super chats and two super stickers. One says super effective with a game console kicking ass. And then the other one is the YouTube creature on the rocket again blowing up out there. That's a terrible shame for him. But thank you very much, Hawk, for that support. And Enforcer, what say you?
And I gotta say, a huge shout out to Hawk, who's now thrown in a total of $110 of super chats tonight. And I gotta thank you massively for that, Hawk, and thank you for supporting the channel. You didn't throw in a comment, but the support does mean a lot. And I gotta thank you massively for once again helping this channel to keep on rolling and giving us a bit of a send-off here on the last night that will be on air until the 19th of September. And so a big thanks once again. I hope that does address that the best I can. And with that, we are on. Oh, and Hawk threw in another 50. Now it's up to 160. Dang, Hawk is going wild. And I got to say, thank you so much once again for the massive support of Hawk and helping this channel to keep on running. Because like I said, if it was not for folks like you, while you aren't throwing in comments, the support means an incredible deal to us. It helps us to be able to do this as a job, and it's also helping us to be able to take a little trip here. And so thank you so much once again, and I hope that does address that amazingly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And yes, huge shout out to Hawk for that massive support, by the way. And also, moving on to our next one, we have a $20 super chat from Kenbai I7X. Well, I have a bit of a stammer. But thank you very much, Kenbai, for that $20 support. Sadly, no comment to address, but we do appreciate it indeed. And Enforcer, what say you?
And I gotta thank you so much for the support. Much like Matthew said, there's no comment there, but we are greatly appreciative of it, and we thank you massively for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And so a big thanks to you once again. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And also, the next one goes to Eternal Darkness, who puts in a 20 and says, "Good morning from Finland. If you want to win, hire a Finn. And also, you have a good vacation as well. And also, could the USA and UK help Ukraine build its own cruise missiles so they can strike with domestic weapons to Russia?"
That is a great question, actually. And thank you so much for wishing us well on the vacation. But we actually have a question, and I will answer it the best I can. We could help them with that, but the cost of that would be pretty extraneous. And on top of that, defending such a production facility inside of Ukraine would be rather challenging. To produce missiles of that type, it requires a fairly large facility and also a fairly large amount of existing industry, and it costs a lot to produce the machining equipment that would be required to be able to properly produce these missiles, and also it costs a lot to source and find the components. That's largely why munitions here in the West, like those missiles, cost exceedingly high amounts, because it's not necessarily the fact that there's like anything really special or valuable in the missile. It's just the fact that the machines and the equipment that's used to make them was fairly expensive, and so the cost has to be subsidized by the price of the missiles themselves. So you could do it, it's just that it may be prohibitively expensive to do so, and it would be cheaper just to pull from existing Western stocks and give them Western missiles. So that largely is the answer. It's entirely possible, but it really comes down to budgeting and the sheer cost of undergoing such a venture like that. But still, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running Eternal Darkness, and I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one is going to go to Bobo Vasquez, who puts in a $20 donation. A huge shout out to Bobo as well. He said, "Slav Ukraine."
And Slav Ukraini! And thank you so much for the support, Bobo Vasquez, and helping this channel to keep rolling, because if it wasn't for folks like you, we wouldn't be able to make this thing possible. And so a huge thanks to you once again. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Invictus, formerly known as Tuns Nord, who puts in a $20 donation. Thank you very much, Invictus, for that support.
Yay!
They said this is to hopefully guilt you into ensuring you come back on the 19th or the 20th. And P.S. I changed my name to Invictus because you were butchering Tunes Nod way too much.
We're sorry. We're sorry. Sometimes names are hard for us because we're from Alabama, so we don't get a lot of exposure to different kinds of names. But I still thank you so much for the support, Invictus, and helping this channel to keep on running. That's a really cool name, though. And also, we will be coming back on the 19th or 20th. No guilting required. I'm probably going to be fiending to get back on the stream and run this thing after about 5 or 6 days off. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to be doing for 5 or 6 days. Well, I know we're going to be doing like the itinerary and everything, but I don't know mentally what I'm going to be doing, because I'm used to running at like 100 miles an hour all day, every day, thinking of everything, trying to come up with stuff to do and say on the stream. And so thank you so much once again for support. I hope that does address that the best I can, incredibly well. And thank you for supporting this channel and helping to make this thing possible. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And our next super chat goes to Zyper Sniper 1, also an old guard, who puts in a $20 donation. And thank you very much, Zyper Sniper. And it's good to see you once again. He said, "Coffee fund for the enforcers."
Hey, thank you so much for the support and helping out that coffee fund. It's amazing to know that people still want us to have coffee, because I actually think that I get headaches when I don't have the same amount of coffee every day, because I've actually had a little bit of a headache during this stream, and that's because I've had to drink a reduced amount of coffee, because the plan was, and we're largely on track for this still, that this stream will end earlier, so that way we can end up getting to sleep and get ready to go tomorrow, because there's a lot of going involved in tomorrow. But still, thank you so much for the coffee fund. I desperately need it. I think I'm actually hooked to coffee at this point, which is really sad, because way back in the day, I absolutely loathed coffee and would not drink it. Like, for the first 150 days of this channel, I never drank a single sip of coffee. And then finally I ended up getting so worn out I had to, and since then I've been having to drink it pretty much every single day, and a lot of it. But still, thank you once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well, and we are on to the next one.
And our next super chat goes to Jason Carney, who puts in an $18 donation, and also Wolfgang Olesh, who puts in a $10 donation. And thank you, Wolfgang and Jason, very much for that support. No comments to address, but of course, it helps keep the channel running, and we do certainly appreciate it. And Enforcer, what say you?
And I gotta thank both of y'all, Jason and Wolfgang, for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. Y'all didn't throw in comments, but the support means a lot, and if it wasn't for folks like y'all, we wouldn't be able to make this thing possible. And so a massive thanks to both of y'all once again. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And our next one goes to Uncovered Cube, who puts in a $10 donation. They said, I took a trip to Owensboro, Kentucky, with the family for an air show tomorrow, and the last night's stream got me all the way through the trip, and thanks, and have a great vacation in LSA. Take one from the chat.
Hey, and also, Owensboro, Kentucky. Owensboro, Kentucky. And so where is this in Kentucky? It is on the Ohio River, and it is... not near Ohio. It's actually just near Indiana. I for some reason
This river is like from the Appalachians or something.
But beyond that, all jokes aside with a laugh, yeah, you know, like it's pretty much, it may as well be the Appalachian Mountains, Matthew. I actually 100% believe people from Kansas City are from the Appalachian Mountains, no lie. But moving on from that and into Owensboro, it looks like the regional airport's right out here. Maybe this is where the air show was. Or is there a military air base nearby that I'm not seeing? I think there's no military air base nearby. I think it's just a regional airport. Well, I be did. Isn't that kind of disappointing? Well, there's got to be a rail yard in town, right? You know, a little rail yard. No, I don't see one. Well, what is this place? When did this place come into being? But beyond that, let's take a look at the town. Nice big bridge over the Ohio River. They got Gats in Ohio or something like that, I've heard. But really nice, actually. This is a really high-end place. Oh, look, there's the industrial area down there with the aggregates and everything. But still, not bad at all. But let's see here. Just a lot of pictures of a nice little town. And this is the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum.
That's the most generic looking building for that.
I know, it's like the most corporatist looking building for like the most down to roots, like down to earth kind of music. Like it's a complete contradiction. Oh, they got a riverboat though. Yeah. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime. But anyways, oh man, I'm really getting hyped up here. I'm really getting hyped up now. Calm me down, man. Calm me down. But anyways, with that, thank you so much once again for sharing that, and thank you for letting us know that we were actually able to get you through the trip. And it's good to know that we're able to help folks pass the time like you, Uncovered Q, because you've been here forever, and hopefully we've been helping you to pass the time a great deal. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And we are on to the next one.
And up next, we have a $150 donation from none other than Purple Gerbil. That gerbil is purple. Help the boy breathe. But anyways, Purple Gerbil says, have a great vacation, and take one from the chat.
And someone give that gerbil CPR, damn it, we're losing them. But beyond that, I gotta say, thank you so much for the support and helping this channel keep on running, Purple Gerbil, and thank you for wanting us to have a great vacation. We're going to have an amazing one, and I wish I could tell y'all what we were actually going to do. I can't for OPSEC reasons, but when we come back, I'm going to be telling y'all every single little detail about it. Hopefully it's a great story. Hopefully it's not a bad story. Like, that's really what I'm hoping it won't be, is a bad story, because we're doing something kind of new. But still, thank you so much once again for that massive support, and we will make sure to take a live chat. So what do we got, Matthew?
All right, so this live chat question goes to Barry Woodward, who says, why don't the Western allies shut up and let the war play out as planned, and why announce anything?
Oh, it all comes down to diplomatic actions. It actually comes down to trying to really, like, lower the tensions by telling people what's going to be happening. Like, Russia goes, we hate you. we give weapons to Iran. Like, they tell us that so that way we don't end up getting really pissed off and overreacting, so that way we see it and then we can respond in our own measured way. So that's kind of how everyone does everything really since the dawn of time. And that's why I just cannot stand, like, to really, like, put this out there in a nutshell. Barry, this is one thing I cannot stand, is when people do conspiracy theories where they're like, oh, everything's just a show for the people. There's a whole other thing going on behind the scenes. It's like, no. It's like, do you know how difficult that would be to run an entire farce for everyone in the world and then also do the complete opposite in the background? Like, that would be insanely impossible and difficult to do. And it's like, that just won't happen. But that's largely why we keep announcing things, is to try and lower the tensions and the escalation with each thing we do. But with that, I hope that does address that live chat fairly well. Thank you so much once again for that insanely massive support, Purple Gerbil, and helping this channel to keep on running, because if it wasn't for folks like you, we wouldn't be able to make this thing possible. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And our next super chat is a massive $140 donation from Cypress96, who's also a longtime channel legend. We have a ton of channel legends coming out tonight, and thank you very much, Cypress, for that massive support. They said, good evening, Enforcers, and is the Russian dead hand system designed to only initiate if it detects an incoming nuclear attack, or is there any chance that it could be triggered by regular non-nuclear missiles? And have a great vacation in LSA.
And thank you so much for the support, that insanely massive support, Cypress96. And we are going to have an amazing vacation. I can tell you all that, and I can't wait to tell you all the details about it too. But beyond that, the Russian dead hand system probably can be activated if the nerve centers are wiped out, whether through nuclear means or conventional means. So I think you could actually activate the dead hand system if you just wipe out the Russian government or any apparatus of the Russian government almost at every level simultaneously. That largely means, though, that you pretty much would have to use nuclear weapons, but if you used enough conventional weapons and got lucky enough and you were accurate enough and your intelligence was good enough, you could probably activate the dead hand system by conventional measures as well. And so with that, I hope that does address that at least the best I can off the knowledge I would know about that. But thank you once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running, because if it was not for folks like you, we wouldn't be able to make this thing possible. So huge thanks to you once again. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And our next super chat is going to go to Barry Woodward, who puts in a $20 donation. Thank you very much, Barry, for that support. He says, don't tell the world your vacation plans. Escape, enjoy, and we'll see you next week.
And we will not be telling anyone the vacation plans, because there are a lot of weird, sick people out there who would probably try and find a way to ruin something about it. So we're not telling anyone nothing until we get back. But still, a huge thanks to you so much once again for the support and helping this thing to keep rolling, because if it was not for folks like you, we would not be able to make this thing possible. And so, big thanks to you once again, and we will see y'all all next week, on Thursday, actually. Well, actually on the 19th. And so with that, thank you once again, and we are on to the next one.
And we have a super chat from Duncan VR, who puts in the famous animal noises, and he puts in an $11 super chat. And thank you very much, Duncan, for that support. He said, Secretary Blinky, Blinky. He said, Baba Moo, have a nice holiday in Moscow. No, not Moscow. He said, Mao Zedong, meow. Are you taking a marmot with you? No, he's staying. Baba, nitric acid Coke for the headaches. Oh man, the fly wants to come out. The fly wants to come out where? Where does he want to go?
The fly wants to come out of purgatory. Please let me gain one single sub. And the Lord said, no, you must suffer. Something like that.
Coming out.
Aw, man. Why does it have to happen to me? I called them irrelevant. They got up to 300,000 subs nearly. I sit here and call myself the voice of the world, and I keep losing subs. What the hell? Aw, man. But beyond that, thank you once again for the support, Duncan VR, and throwing in the animal noises. It would not be a night if it was not for the animal noises, Duncan VR. And I got to thank you massively once again for that support and throwing in such a tradition of the LSA practically every single night. And so a huge thanks to you once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Adam McLean, yet again, who puts in a $20 donation. And thank you very much, Adam, for the second support of the night. He said, I just hope you guys can find an amazing pastrami sandwich along the way. Eat great food while you're on vacation.
Hey! And thank you so much once again for the support. And hopefully we can find a pretty good pastrami sandwich. I would think that'd be pretty nice, pretty refreshing actually, compared to like a hamburger. Because we had a hamburger tonight and it hardly held me over at all, to be entirely honest. But still, we will try and eat really good food. I think that side of things is hopefully set, but we'll have to wait and see how that actually turns out. But still, big thanks to you once again. Hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and the next one goes to Tom Exman, who puts in a 10. And thank you very much, Tom, as well. He said, have a good trip.
And we will, Tom Exman. And I got to thank you so much once again for support. Thank you for being an old guard as well. And thank you for helping this channel to keep on running. And with that, we are on to the next. Also, Mandy, I saw that bot. I was sitting there thinking, I'm going to let him keep going. Because someone said, hard to believe, super chats. And then way earlier on, I don't know if you saw this, Matthew, worse than AI rambling. It's like, dude, it's like no one's making you stay here. It's like you got to be a clown to say hard to believe super chats. Like we're just fabricating every single super chat that comes in. I guess we pay ourselves so that way YouTube can take 30% of our money every night. Like it's like, how in the world do we keep that running? I guess we just have to have an unlimited pool of money to do that if that was true. What an idiot. Anyways.
Wait. Hot Dog Goons have been here tonight as well. There's actually been 3 new accounts in the live chat, which I've been keeping an eye on. One of them got banned, and then there's one still lurking. They went silent, but it's the Hot Dog Goons here on fake accounts, and they put in a $5 super chat earlier, actually. We'll gladly take that 5, but their question will not be read off. But they're here, like usual, hanging out in the live chat. This time they couldn't help it. They had to go create a fake one so they could get a word in edgewise. But, you know, it didn't work. I identified all 3 counts right off the bat. They wasted all their time, and now they can sit there and seethe.
Man, dude, what? Imagine being such a loser that you hear that a YouTube channel, the people on it are going to take a trip. So the one thing you do is spend like 30 minutes on your Thursday afternoon, your Friday afternoon actually, making a fake account to get blasted within 2 minutes of getting on the stream. Like, it's like, is that even worth their time? No, it's not. But these people are stupid, much like the hot dog man. They all sucketh from the same pipeth, and therefore they come up with the dumbest and most brain dead takes and things to do as like a daily event. So we still have to deal with them, even when we're about to go on a trip. And that's why we can't tell y'all anything about the trip, is because of these stupid people. Because much like they put all of this time and effort and wasted into doing this, they would put all of their time and effort and waste it on just trying to ruin our vacation in any way, shape, or form if they could figure out exact details about it. So with that, I thank you all once again for bearing with me there while I pointed out that bot and got a good laugh. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Kato Kumashiro, who puts in a $10 donation. And thank you very much, Kato, for that support. He said, have a nice break time.
And we will. And I got to thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running. Because if it was not for folks like you, we wouldn't have been able to be here for so long, so far. And so with that, thank you once again. And we are on to the next one.
All right, and this one is going to go to Quantum Fighter, who puts in a 10. And thank you very much. Good sir for that support. And they said, some bucket spit. Heh. Elsa forever, and Dio Presso Liber. And now please sing Join the British Army. Well, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that part. He said, I know you're a fan, lad.
Well, I thank you for the support, Quantum Fighter. And LSA forever. I will say that. And also, I don't know about the other parts. I don't know about them because someone threw in something about how does a Boy Scout become something else, and then they threw in like a joke we didn't know what it meant, and then we found out that it was something really questionable. I don't know if this is the same thing, but I still thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. Because if it wasn't for folks like you, we wouldn't be able to make this thing possible. And so, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Larry Champagne, who puts in a 10. And thank you, Larry, for that support. He said, long live the LSA family, the Enforcer and Enforcer Matt. You guys are the greatest, and have a wonderful and great vacation, and take one from the chat. And thank you, Larry, for the kind words as well.
And thank you so much for the support, Larry, while my esophagus does a partial collapse right there. And, of course, thank you so much for the kind words and saying that we're the greatest. I don't think we're the greatest, but I thank you so much for the kindness of that statement. That is incredibly kind of you. And also, long live the Lee Spring Army, and we will have a wonderful vacation, and we will take one from the chat. So what do we got, Matthew?
So this one goes to Anonymous from the live chat. It says, if Ukraine uses a storm shadow deep inside Russia, will you guys do a short news video? I'm curious. Oh, yes, absolutely. I would definitely crack the laptop out for that one because that would be a big event. We'd have to see what Putin's going to do in response to that. And also, I'm sure the damage would be severe. And if Ukraine was bold enough to strike that deep into Russia, I'm sure the target would be pretty juicy. So we definitely make a video. But Enforcer, what say you?
We absolutely would make a video on that. I will also say that as well. No matter where we are or what we're doing, we will sit down and pump out that video so that way y'all can hear the news, especially if it's something big that happens. So while we are on vacation, and y'all should largely expect that we will not be making short war videos, if something big happens, we will be putting them out even on vacation. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one is going to go to, let me double check here. It goes to Monsieur Gaston, who puts in a 10. And Monsieur says, can we see the Abliat clip from yesterday for those who missed it? And happy vacation to the both of you.
Thank you so much for the support. And I don't know which clip that was. Let me see here. Training, low-level maneuvers. Where in the world was that clip? Where in the world was it? Fighting in Vovchansk. Russians getting bombed. Hitting some Russians. We'll make a unit on the hunt. Russians hit hard. Outskirts of the city. Hitting the Russians at night. Bridge of... I think that was on last week's map, actually, if I remember correctly. So sadly, I don't think we'd be able to pull that up right now because we are on a very tight time constraint at the moment. And while it seems like we are getting through the super chats quickly, the super chats are coming in about as quickly as we're addressing them. So we're trying to make sure that we still round this thing out around 11:30. So sadly, I wouldn't be able to go and pull up last week's map to look at it. But if anyone clipped it, please share that around because that was one of the funniest things that we had seen recently. But still, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that the best I can. And with that, thank you for wishing us a happy vacation as well, Monsieur Gaston. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And our next one goes to Ed, who puts in a $10 donation. And thank you very much, Ed, for that support. He said, Enforcer Matt, Irish Ed from Pennsylvania here, and safe travels to you both, and have a wonderful time. And also, you guys should put geocaching items wherever you go. And also, if you're in Pennsylvania, hit me up in LSA.
Hey, and thank you so much for the support, Irish Ed. And if we are in Pennsylvania, we will hit you up. We might actually end up dropping through the area, kind of, sort of. But beyond that, I got to say, thank you so much for wanting us to have safe travels and a wonderful time. And also, Matthew, do you know what a geocaching item is?
That means to like hide something somewhere and somehow you're able to get people to like go find it. Like you put the location somewhere and they have to go to the spot in physical person and then they have to try to look for the item that's hidden in the spot.
Oh, like a treasure hunt.
I think so, yeah. It's like the high-tech version.
I wonder if we could do something like that. Probably not, because most of the things that we would probably leave around for people to geocache, it might not make it. Like, it might not make it to where we're heading. But still, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address that the best I can. And of course, long live the LSA, and the LSA will never die. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to William P., who puts in a 10. And thank you, William, for the second support of the night. He says, any suspicions on what Ukraine's victory plan is, and enjoy the vacation.
What Ukraine's victory plan is, probably a parade in Kyiv, and that would be about it, in my honest opinion, because there's not really much more that they could do. The war is just kind of over at that point, and they'll probably start rapidly downsizing the army after that, and really the armed forces as a whole, and that would be about it, really. And so, with that, I hope that does address that well, William. I thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running, and with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and the next one goes to Ari Sowini yet again. Another support. Thank you very much for that $30 support, Ari. And they said a barbecue, porterhouse steak, pork spare ribs, or both. Oh, both. If you could just get both, you'd become both. I'm not picking. I'm taking both. But thank you very much for that support. And Enforcer, what say you?
I'm not picky, Ari Sweeney. If both are an option, I'm having both. You can sit there and watch me as I gain 6 pounds. But still, with that, I hope that does address that fairly well, Ari Sweeney. But I would have, if both of them are an option, and both is an option, I'd have them both. Why not? But still, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that the best I can. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Neil Vizanot, who puts in a 5 and says, "Enjoy your vacation, boys. And what do you think about the U.S. new Vampire system that turns any pickup truck into an MLRS?"
I think the Vampire is actually pretty cool. We've actually shown it and talked about it a little bit on this channel before. I think it's a fairly good thing, especially for Ukraine. This is a budget way to get a much larger amount of rocket artillery available in any given area. So I think it's actually a really good system. And also, thank you so much for wanting us to enjoy the vacation, Neil Visnot, because I surely know that we are going to have a blast of a time. And so thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that well. And we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Havlin Tuff, who puts in a $5 donation. Thank you very much, Havlin, for that support. They said the Russian central bank has raised its interest rate to 19%. Oh, that's terrible.
19%? Whack. But still, thank you for the support, and thank you for sharing that. I actually did not know that. But thank you so much once again for helping this channel to keep on running and sharing that info with us tonight, Havlin, an absolute channel legend. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Richard Greger, who throws in his first ever Super Channel stream, his first ever, and he puts in that 10. And thank you very much, Richard, for that support. I don't see any comment attached. But Enforcer, what say you?
And thank you so much for the support, Richard Greger, and helping this channel to keep on running. Your first Super Chat ever. And I gotta say a huge thanks to you for throwing that in right when we're rounding out for our first vacation ever in the history of running this channel. But still, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that the best I can, at least for now. But we hope to see you around some more when we come back on the 19th of September and continue to run the streams. So with that, thank you so much once again, and we are on to the next one.
And we've got a $5 super chat from Chris Chaturis. Fight that good fight. And he says, LSA, stay frosty, brother. Brother.
And thank you so much for the support. And we will stay frosty, brother. And so with that, thank you so much once again. Long live the Lee Spring Army. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and our next one goes to Chargy, who puts in a 5 and does not leave a comment. And also Tiffany Thomas, who puts in a 5 as well. A huge shout out to both Chargy and Tiffany for that support. Thank you very much. Enforcer, what are you saying?
I got to say thanks to both of you because you all helped this channel to keep on running. And also thank you, Tiffany Thomas, for making that your first super chat to the channel ever, and also being from North Alabama. Some of y'all may think I don't read the live chat, but I do. It's just that I don't sadly get to talk about everything I see in the live chat because there's about 30,000 chats a night. But I did see you were from North Alabama, Tiffany, and so welcome to the Lee Spring Army, from one Alabamian to the other. And also, Matthew, we've got someone in here speaking proxy saying hi Nazi, and I'm sorry, that will not be allowed. But anyways, with that, I hope that does address that the best I can, and we are on to the next one.
They came in at first and said, hi, SS. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, oh, they're just not good with this. It's not their first language or something like that. But then they said, hi, Nazi. I was like, okay, they're just crazy. But so they got to go. But anyways, moving on here to our next super chat. This one is going to go to William P., who puts in a 10 once again. And thank you very much, William. I believe that is the third support of the night. He said, I was referring to the victory plan Zelenskyy is talking about presenting to the U.S. this month.
Oh, dang, William. I actually haven't even heard about that one, really. As far as the victory plan,
it's going to be classified.
It's going to be classified. It probably have to do a lot with rebuilding the Ukrainians economically after the war than anything. Because at that point, if the Ukrainians have won the war, it's no longer about fighting the war or having the means to fight one. It's more so just about rebuilding the country afterwards. So that's probably what the victory plan entails for the large part. And so with that, I thank you so much once again for support, William P., and helping this channel to keep on running. And I hope that does address that fairly well, although we don't have a lot of info on that at the moment. But still, thank you so much once again, and we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Kachulian343, who puts in a 5 and says, can we take a moment to appreciate that the Ukrainians has a bunch of WH Warhammer 40,000 nerds in the Corn group. It really is collecting skulls for the Skull Throne.
I gotta thank you so much for the support, Katrillian. And it is really interesting to see there are a lot of Warhammer fans in Ukraine because the 59th Brigade's drone forces also use a very Warhammer-esque symbol for their unit, which is very interesting because the Warhammer 40k world is apparently a really popular one in Ukraine. I actually didn't know it's fairly popular here in America, at least in the wargaming world. I'm not really like I'm interested in Warhammer 40K lore, but I'm not really into playing the tabletop game side of things because I got that kind of a wired brain where everything has to be like hyper realistic to real life, and so I can't really enjoy that. But still, I do find the lore very interesting. And if y'all had to know what is my favorite Legion, it's certainly not the Ultramarines, because everyone would dunk on you if it was. It's the Black Templars. And it's like the only, well, it's not the only, but it's like the main non-Codex Astartes following unit, if there was one in the Adeptus Astartes. But still, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And it is true, there are a lot of Warhammer 40K nerds out there in the Ukrainian Armed Forces. But with that, thank you so much once again, and we are on to the next one.
And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Colin McMenemy, who puts in a 5. And thank you very much, Colin. He says, enjoy your time off, and here's a little something. Get yourselves a nice pack of hot dogs for the campfire.
Thank you so much for the support, Colin McMenemy. And we will look into that. Now, we do generally have an aversion to hot dogs, but we will see about it. We will see. But still, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, because it is folks like you who help to make this thing possible. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and our next one here is going to go to, let's see, it goes to Ed, who puts another 5, and thank you very much, Ed, for that support. He said, Irish Ed here yet again. FYI, I've never done the geocaching thing, but I thought it might be a cool idea, and later, and Godspeed to you both, and LSA.
It certainly is a cool idea. I would love to do it if we could, but we haven't even planned for that, and I don't even know what we would leave around to geocache. And so, sadly, I don't have any good ideas, to be entirely honest. But still, thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running and making this thing possible. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And our next super chat is going to go to Welty Ripper, who puts in a 5 and says, I only just joined the show and normally fast asleep, and I'm a big fan.
Hey, and thank you so much for the support, Welty Ripper, and being a big fan. And thank you for just recently joining the show. Better late than never is what I always say. But still, thank you for the support and helping this channel to keep on running tonight. Thank you for helping it to be possible, and I hope I address that the best I can. I'm so sorry, everyone, if I sound like I'm rushing, because literally, Matthew, I know you're seeing it too. I'll answer like 2 of them, or 3 of them, and I'll be like, finally, we're making ground. We can make sure to get to the live chats. And then like another 4 super chats will come, and I'm like, dang it, and I'm like trying to hurry to make sure that we can get to all of them and also answer some live chats. Sorry if it does sound like I'm rushing tonight, folks, because we're not trying to, but also there's really stringent time windows that we're starting to have to work off of now. But with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Herp Derp NV, who puts in a $5 donation. It says, on the trip, consider a stay at the Clown Motel if passing nearby. I heard Chris's mom's seen there a little bit, visiting some truck drivers.
Oh, well, you know, if Chris's mom is around, because you hear a lot. You hear that a great deal, and they do be honking. But beyond that, I gotta say thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running Herb Derp NV and throwing in a Chris's mom roast right before we are getting off air. So that, thank you once again, and we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to CT Red Devil 77, who puts in a $5 donation, and they put in their first ever super chat. And thank you very much for that support as well. They said, I found your guys' channel a couple months ago, and I enjoy your content, and you guys are great, and enjoy your vacation. With love from Canada. And thank you very much.
And thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And I gotta say, thank you for finding the channel and really enjoying it just right off the bat, because a couple of months in the span of the Lee Spring Army CT Red Devil is not that long of a time, actually, because this channel has been running for 3 years. May as well be like the Warhammer 40k world. The Emperor has sat upon the golden throne for 10,000 years, or 10 millennia, because that's what it feels like at this point. We've been here forever, every single day. Not that I'm like the Emperor or anything like that. That would be bizarre. But still, thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running, and I hope that does address that incredibly well, and thank you so much once again for the kind words. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Jason Curling, who puts in a $3 donation. And also, the next one goes to Mark-Andre Burnett, who puts in a $1 donation. And huge shout out to Jason and Mark for that support, and we appreciate it very much. We also have a 2 from Paul Benz. He said, come back feeling your renewed creativity. I think we will, Paul. Hopefully this vacation will reset us, because we're desperately in need of that. And I think it will, because it's a good 5 days away, and that'll feel about like a year, I think. But thank you very much. And Enforcer, what say you?
I will have to agree with that completely with what Matthew said. And also, by the time we come back, I think, if I'm correct, our China-Taiwan video will finally be ready. The documentary that's been worked on for really most of the year at this point, it finally will be ready, and we finally will be putting it out. And if it ends up going well, we are actually going to start putting those out a lot more regularly, meaning that I'm going to be adding even more work to my normal work schedule. But what else do we have to do beyond work? We live to work. That's really like the thing. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. And with that, we are on to the next one.
And this one goes to Justin Berryman, who puts in a 2. It says, I'm from Northwest Alabama in Lawrence County. And he is up north in Alabama, Lawrence County. I'm not exactly sure where that county is up north, but it is up there. So let's see.
Lawrence County.
It's over there. It's near Florence.
Yeah, it's near Florence and Muscle Shoals, and it's near Decatur. It's literally the county that just straddles the two. Dude, we've been in this county because there's the Browns Ferry nuclear power plant. Remember, we were like right around here in this neighborhood, right here at the end of the street, trying to get a good shot of the nuclear power plant for that video we tried to make. Remember?
A good look at it, that is. Just a look.
Well, Andy, I don't think he was going to be putting us on a watch list for saying we're trying to get a good shot of the power plant. I mean, obviously, it's a figure of speech for taking a video or a picture, but still, we were right there. Like, we actually had been here. Just for you to know, we could have actually passed by you, Justin Berryman. That is weird. That is so weird to think about. But still, also there's like some giant like rocket fuel producer. Yeah, United Launch Alliance or something like that out here. From what I remember, weren't they the ones who created like some sort of like solid rocket fuel or something like that, Matthew?
I think so. Maybe. I'm not sure if they do the rocket fuel here or what, but maybe so.
It was really cool, though. It was really cool to go through here because this was a massive industrial area right near the Tennessee River. And so that, thank you so much once again. I hope that does address that incredibly well. Really cool to think that we could have actually been near to you. And with that, we are on to the last super chat of the night. Sadly, this is actually going to have to be the last one. We're going to have to put a channel cutoff beyond this point so that way we can get to a couple of live chats because we have to by the codex on how we run this channel. But still, thank you everyone so much for the massive support and the well wishes for the vacation tonight. It's been absolutely incredible. And with that, Matthew, what do we have for our final super chat of this night?
And this one's going to go to Carl Buckland, who puts in a 1. It says, what the hell am I supposed to do for a week? But have fun, guys.
Hey! That's the final super chat of the night. It's like, what am I going to do? I don't know. What are we going to do? Like, I honestly think we're going to start twiddling our thumbs a lot on this vacation and be like, what do we do? Like, I think we should have kept working. But still, I thank you so much once again for support. Thank you for wishing us the best on the vacation because we are going to have an absolute blast. And so with that, due to time constraints, and I know that it's very early compared to our normal run time for a stream, but tonight we are trying to round this thing out around the midway point of this hour, so we have about 3 minutes. So we are going to be taking the Morse code decoders, three live chats, and then we're going to be rounding out tonight's stream. But a big shout out to Mama Mentality for throwing in that $2 super chat right there. Hey! And thank you once again for helping this channel to keep on running it. So Matthew, take it away.
All right, so tonight the Morse code decoders of the stream were Cliff Simonson, Mark Hodges, Earl Bernew, Kevin J, Paul Schultz, David Millsaps, Royal Fluffiness, and also Arabelle Garbo. And they said the Morse code says Russia is now going to lose the Rakosem area completely, and Russia catching lines like they catch drones. LLT, LSA.
And that is the sound of money, and y'all got that down on the nail. That was the Morse code message of the night. I congratulate y'all for getting that correct here on the last day we'll be on air before vacation, because it's impressive to know that y'all been getting that dead on the nail every single day without fail. The streams took a hiatus before y'all did, and so with that, big shout out to y'all once again. And with that, we are on to the third to last question of the night.
And this one goes to Lord Lathos LSA, who says, do you believe that Putin will risk a public opposition by calling for another draft?
I think eventually he may. I think that probably will be in the earlier to mid part of next year, though, if that actually does happen. Because right now it seems like the Russians are still trying to stave that off for as long as they possibly can. So you eventually will have to meet that giant public obstacle, but it will not be right now. So at least luckily for Putin, unluckily for the rest of us. It would be better if he tried to rush that and do it now. And so with that, I hope that does address that the best I can. And with that, we are on to the second to last question of the night.
And also, we had one more super chat here. This was a $20 donation from Jacob Wysocki. I'm not sure how this one got mixed up in the live chats, but it was. So sorry about that, Jacob. This one was a 20 from him. He said, Hello, Defenders. Jacob here. Have fun visiting Chris's mom in Detroit. Get Matt some Chipotle. Enjoy your time.
No way. No. Wait a minute. Let me give that one proper justice, Matthew. I gotta give it proper justice before we go and round this whole thing out. Welcome back, Defenders. Jacob here. Hope y'all have a fun time on vacation. Where did it go, Matthew? Where did it go? I was
Jump down to the super chat segments.
Oh,
It's
no.
at 20.
Oh no! Wait. Dang it, man! Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I can't find it. I'm looking through. Here we go. Welcome back, Defenders. Jacob here. Have fun visiting Chris's mom in Detroit. Get Matt some Chipotle and enjoy your time. And thank you so much for the support, Jacob Wisaki. I hope we're pronouncing that correctly. And helping this channel to keep on running. I'm sad that we missed that the first time, because that would have been funny the first time. And I'm glad that we found it and caught it. And thank you for pointing that out, by the way. And also, thank you so much for wishing us a good time on the vacation. We will not be going anywhere near Detroit. I can promise you all that. Some people will be saddened by that news. Other people will be absolutely happy about it. Actually, we're going to be nearby in the good old state of Minnesota. And so with that, I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm just playing. But anyways, with that, I hope that does address that well. Thank you once again for your support and helping this channel to keep on running. And with that, we are now on, I think, to the second to last question of the night.
Yes, and this one's going to go to, let's see here, Tifus, who says, do you think that Russia and Ukraine will ever have peace talks?
Eventually they will have to. It's just that we really don't know when that will be at this moment. It could be years. It could be a short while ago. A short while from now. We just don't really know. But eventually, inevitably, they will have to. And so I hope that does address that incredibly well, at least the best I can. And with that, we are on to the final question of the night. And so, who is the lucky last person to throw in the lucky last question of the night?
And that viewer is Bobo Vasquez. He says, have you all covered NATO allowing countries boarding this war zone to shoot down drones that invade their sovereign territory yet?
We have not covered that because we have not heard about that at the moment. Because largely we've seen that NATO has not been allowing that, and it's been a heavy point of contention between those countries and the United States. So at the moment we haven't covered that because we haven't gotten that information or news, either unfortunately or fortunately, or either way. But with that, I hope that does address that the best I can. And literally at the midway point of the hour, it is time for us to round out this stream. And what a weird thing to say tonight, because it's not a normal night where I'll tell y'all we'll be back tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern time. We're actually going to be rounding this thing out for quite some time now, all the way up until the 19th of September. And I know that it's not going to be the 20th of December, because I'm going to be clamoring to get back on this stream on the 19th and start running this thing, because I know I'm going to miss this massively. And I got to say, a massive thanks to everyone who was here with us on this very night, the last night that we're going to be running a stream before we take off on this vacation. And I get to thank all of y'all once again for watching tonight. Y'all have given this channel a supreme purpose since the start of the war. It started primarily as a channel that was here just to talk about where the Russian army was and to help one of my Ukrainian friends that I knew that lived over there to be able to try and escape the country. And within the first week of that war, it morphed into actually reporting the news for people around the world of what was going on in Ukraine. And now it's largely a pro-Western channel speaking about Western interests around the entirety of the globe. It has been an absolute honor and a pleasure to be able to dedicate our entire lives to this, pretty much every single waking hour and every single waking minute, to be able to cover this news for y'all and to be able to try and promote Western interests in the very small way that we can with the incredible East Spring Army behind us. I've got to say that we will miss all of y'all greatly in between the 14th and the 18th, and I will let y'all know that 100% we are going to be more than ecstatic to come back on the 19th and continue covering the news of the war in Ukraine and news from around the world when we return that day. I've got to thank you all so much once again for having stuck here with us through thick and thin, through some of the greatest times of this channel and the worst times of this channel up till this point. I will see you all again on the 19th of September next week to cover the next probably 72 hours of the news of the war in Ukraine, and also some touchings on the news from well before that. But still, good night, good luck, take care, stay safe. Slava Ukraini, long live the East Spring Army, and the East Spring Army will never die. Take care and good night.
And with that, folks, we'll see you in about 5 days or so from now after we come back from our vacation, hopefully well relaxed and also refreshed as well, ready to go for another 4 more years or 3 more years or so. But with that, thank you all once again for a fantastic stream tonight. We'll see you all on Thursday of next week. And with that, Slav Ukraine, Heroem Slava, and whoa, Jack, and good night.
Yes.
The Leaf Spring Army sends its